An anxiety-filled week for me. Actually, it's an anxiety-filled 3 days. Maybe if I'd have started designing that beer like 2 weeks ago, it wouldn't have been so anxiety-filled. So, let me cue you in as to why it's an anxiety-filled week. Because we're going to brew my recipe today. So, last episode, we previously on Northwest Brewmeisters, we brewed Steve's personal recipe, which he used, what's it called? The Joy of Brewing, right?
Yeah, I followed the guidelines in the Joy of Homebrewing.
What's the guy's name?
Charlie Papazian. Papazian.
Charlie Papazian. All right. So if you're a brewer, you should check this one out.
Apparently, it's the de facto, initial brewing book that most people use.
It's like the primer.
The one, yeah.
The primer.
And so there's a table and it has some guidelines based off the style of beer. So you just kind of follow the guidelines and then you shape the recipe how you want. And that's exactly what I did. And that's what fermentation does. And it's been rack once. It's in secondary now.
I'm kind of excited to taste this beer.
Yeah, I think I'll probably keg it next weekend. And then the following weekend, next brew weekend, we should be able to drink it.
Sweet. Hey, we're doing good. We've got like brews to drink.
Yeah. We got to keep the momentum though.
You might also notice I'm in a new chair here. You might not. But also previously on Northwest Brewmeisters, I broke Steve's chair. I feel kind of bad about that still.
It was my sister-in-law's.
Oh, so apparently Steve doesn't feel bad about it. All right, in any case, let's get to brewing. First, let's go ahead and add water and get this all.
Well, maybe we should tell our viewers what we're drinking.
Oh, we are drinking a dangerous beer.
Yes.
This is dangerous. And I'll tell you why it's dangerous. I mean, so this is a New England IPA, right?
New England style?
Hazy.
Well, that's what it is. New England Hazy IPA that we made about, 3 or 4 sessions ago? Trying to get it on the
Probably
camera.
about 2 sessions ago, because we usually...
There you go.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so obviously it's hazy, you can't see through it, but that's its purpose. It's a New England style Hazy IPA. I don't remember what the ABV is. It's probably like a 5.5. It's not too strong, actually.
Yeah, it's not too strong, but I'll tell you what's dangerous is it is so good.
Good. It goes down really easy. It's not, it's hoppy enough just to give you that hop sensation, but it's not like you're drinking a Christmas tree extract.
It's like literally you could slam this beer and just feel good about it.
Jerry made a joke he said, no offense, man, but it's like the Coors Light of IPAs because it's just so light on the light body.
It's just like
it goes down so easy. The finish is nice and clean.
It's like it's just, but it's not boring. It's not boring. Don't. Oh, no. It's not boring.
Lots of flavor.
It's
balanced.
Just come on over. We'll share. It's great.
Well, act now while supplies last. All right.
Like really now, because supplies are only going to last for about a week.
Seriously.
All right, so while he's going to throw the water in there, so I really like Scotch ales. And so I did a lot of reading on Scottish ales and Scotch ales and wee heavies. Which one's the heavy one? Scotch ales are high ABV. Scottish ales are lower ABV. And then wee heavies are like really high. They're like,
like 8 clusters, man.
Yeah, from what I was reading, wee heavy and Scottish ale or Scotch ale. Wait, which one's it? Yeah, wee heavy and Scotch ale are kind of used interchangeably as a term. But I like Scotch ales. There's a really nice one out of Cold Smoke is the name of it. I forget the brewery. It's out in Missoula, Montana. Actually, it's down in Lolo, which is a small town just south of Missoula. It's almost like a suburb.
Okay.
If Montana actually had suburbs, but there's no city in Montana big enough to have suburbs. But Lolo would be that. In fact, the only reason that Missoula hasn't eaten Lolo is because there's like this ridge and a river that makes it impossible to build up into Lolo. In any case, you got the aim and flame? Man, this guy is prepared so much better than me. I just drove 150 miles an hour to get here on time.
That's funny.
Maybe not that fast, but... Well, wait. You want to get the grain bags ready before...
That's fine.
Okay.
It's not going to heat up that quick.
All right. You'll be fine.
Anyhow. Why don't you tell them what's in your green bags?
I need to.
The fact that we have 2 grain bags this time instead of
Yeah, so we went a little bit crazy. We'll go ahead and read the recipe here. And we can talk about a lot of things while we're going. There's a while. Nope, that's calling people. That's what's happening. That's notes. All right, Steve likes paper. I like electronic tablets. Although, we are going to put this in the tome. Because we did talk about the fact that, let's say the power goes out for 4 days, which happens here in the Pacific Northwest, particularly in our town. Eventually, this phone is going to run out of juice, and then I got nothing. Whereas, you're pretty good at that whole judging the length thing.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, so paper, you just wait for the sun comes up, and the paper works. It always does what it's supposed to do. So we are going to put this in the tome, which Steve bought this really nice little notebook thing. It's got a moleskin cover, and we're going to write down all our recipes that we make up. All right, so we are using, we'll just go down the list in order. So we went with 1275 Thames Valley Ale yeast. So it's a Y yeast. It's from Y yeast. And the reason I went with it is because it has pretty good attenuation, and it was the finish. I'd have to look up I'd have to look it up again, but it was because of the finish. I mean, the flavors and the things that it adds to it. Not too alcohol-y, not too high on the esters, because I didn't want this to taste fruity. You know, I didn't want to go too crazy with the fruity flavors, but still, I did want it to really eat up all the alcohols, because there is a ton of sugar in this recipe. And my phone locked. I should probably set it on more than 30 seconds. Okay, then we're going with 2 ounces of Centennial hops. The reason I went with Centennial hops is because they have pretty high alpha acids. The packages that we got are 9.9% alpha acids. And so they're going to add a lot of bittering characteristics to this beer, which is something I really want because, again, there's a lot of sugar in this beer. It's 9.9 pounds of liquid malt extract is going into this. And then we got 1 ounce of East Kent Goldings, just to give it a little more bittering and just a little bit of hop flavor. Nothing real spectacular because Scotch ales are not, they're not famous for hops. That's not the direct. They're supposed to be a rich, malty, complex beer, which is, I don't know if that's good. I'm a simple guy. I like simple things. But I do like Scotch ales. So,
They're yummy.
they are. They're delicious. So after that, we've got caramel 120. 1 pound of that is in there. Roasted barley, 2 ounces. Special B, 4 ounces. Caramel Munich, 4 ounces. Cherry smoked malt, 4 ounces. And chocolate malt, 2 ounces. So I went with the caramel 120 just for, I want it to be dark. You know, there's no real strict rules on brewing beer. But please tell me you didn't break that.
It's separated, but it didn't break. Well, so you change the battery.
Oh, okay, well, there we go. Anyhow, so I went with the caramel, the 1 pound of that because I wanted to add a lot of body. I wanted this to be pretty much a thick beer. And 1 pound, so I went with the 120 for a nice dark color. Roasted barley, 2 ounces, because I wanted to add those roasted barley, kind of like that toffee flavor, aiming for kind of a toffee. Same thing with the Special B, kind of that nutty flavor. All these things are kind of pushing it towards a caramelly, nutty finish. That's what I'm aiming for, not super sweet. Again, that's why we're going with 2 whole ounces of Centennial malt, Centennial hops with the high alpha acids, because I want to really counter that sweet tendency, which this beer will want to be sweet if we're not careful. That's why we also have 2 packages of the Thames Valley Ale yeast. And yeah.
Thames?
What? Yes, Thames. You American troglodyte.
Just kidding. I know it's Thames.
My English friends said they would try. You just burned our entire English audience. And not that we have a big English audience, but anyone that was there is gone now.
I only said despite him. Yes.
All right, I'm continuing on.
You continue on.
And the chocolate malt for the same reason. So all those grains, we read through and choose them. Choose them. I should have another beer. I went through and I chose them all because I wanted to have that. I don't want a super sweet fruity beer. I want more of a nutty caramel finish. And ran it past our brew supply guys down at, Northwest Brewer Supply.
Wait. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And they said, yeah, nothing in this recipe really stands out as crazy or stupid. And that's good because they have more knowledge than I do. I mean, they run a beer supply store.
I would hope they have knowledge.
I would hope so. I mean, it's not always the case. Sometimes people are just like, hey, what the hell? I'm going to do this.
Right.
And then it's like, wow, you don't know anything.
I have an auto parts store, but I don't know anything about the auto parts.
I know of an auto parts store that is just like that.
Do you now?
I do. I'm not going to trash talk them, but
I've been there. Yeah, I'm not going to sit there and slander companies.
But I'm going to say
There's some
there's
out there.
one. There is. So anyways, so we got 6.6 pounds of golden liquid malt extract, and then 3.3 pounds of the Munich. So those are extracts. Went with the Munich for kind of that biscuity. Again, we're going for kind of earthy, nutty, caramely flavors.
Right.
And then the golden, just because that was suggested.
I like the color so far.
Yeah, it's going to be dark, and there's a lot of darkness in there.
That's right. Scotch Ale. It's supposed to be pretty dark.
Yeah, it's true.
Darkish.
Yeah. The only mistake I think I made is that this is going to be a drink one and don't drive beer.
It's going to be high octane, huh?
It is. Well, it's got 9.9. So is yours, dude. Yours is going to be.
Yeah, mine is supposed to be somewhere between 7 and 8% when it's done.
Yeah.
So
one of the interesting things about Scotch ales and Scottish ales is one of the ways they're almost, even though they use ale yeast, they are brewed in like a lager style. So like, we're gonna aim for like high 50s, low 60s. That's what I'm gonna go for a fermentation temperature. Fortunately, it's fall and the weather's turning and the nights are cold and my basement has no heat. So we'll just throw it down there in the dark and let it do its thing. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. And yeah, so there you go. That's my beer. I'm excited. It took a long time to figure it out. With Steve just standing there, not giving me any help. I invited him over for beers and advice. And he kept saying, it's your beer, dude.
he kept overly worried about it. I was like, man, just go with it. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. It's true. I was stressing, which is weird because I don't stress anything in my life. I'm like, I am a hip shot guy. I really am. It's like, where are you going? Don't know. When will you get there? I ain't certain. All I know is I am on my way. Name the movie. Can you name the movie?
No, I can't.
Really?
Yeah.
It's old. It's Paint Your Wagon. You
I
ever want to hear Clint Eastwood sing?
I don't know if I do or not.
Actually, he's a pretty good singer.
Yeah.
So is Lee Marvin's, believe it or not.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's Paint Your Wagon. It's a musical. Yes. It is pretty classic. But it is definitely, that's one of the songs. Is like they're going out west. It's like, where are we going? I don't know. When will we get there? I ain't certain. All I know is I am on my way. I'll be here all week. Anyhow, it's kind of cool. It's a really interesting. Yeah, that's your house.
That noise outside my house.
That was noises outside your house. It sounded like a child of some sort.
Oh, it makes me wonder if my young one's coming home.
Uh-oh. Young one?
Yeah.
They're not locked out, are they?
No, it's just she spent the night at her friend's house.
Oh, nice.
So I don't know when they were coming back. Usually text though, so her friend's dad. Anyway,
So, that's my beer.
it's gonna be good. Why? Because we brewed it. Let's try it anyway.
We have yet to wait. We've made one that we weren't thrilled with.
We still drank it, but we weren't completely happy with it.
We weren't.
I think he was more happy about it than I was, but I'm probably a little more picky.
I think it's not so much that I was more happy with it, it's that I'm less picky.
Maybe, yeah.
It's like, it's beer, it's fizzy, we're good.
Because the only time it's awful is when it's not beer. So
Right, which we make that determination.
right.
Like Goes is not beer. We've said that. Why? Because we like all
At
beers.
least those kind of beers that we tried, they weren't beer.
Yeah, they weren't beer. They're just obviously not beer.
I don't know if all Goes beers are supposed to be like that.
Well,
Like fruit style or what? Was that what
I
you
don't know
had?
that other
I don't
one.
remember.
The margarita was pretty I mean, that
That
was,
was awful.
it was like drinking grapefruit juice with all of the goodness of grapefruit juice, which is not a lot, by the way, taken out of it. And then that strawberry, whatever, rhubarb one that
Yeah.
your sister-in-law
Which is
had.
funny, is because it was the Elysian brew, which Elysian makes good beer.
It might
it's
be.
not good goes.
Or it might be that we just don't like goes.
True.
Because it's not beer.
It's not beer.
Yeah, it's goes. How we doing?
We're at 90, so climbing.
You know one thing we never do?
Actually, we're over 100 degrees now.
We run around all crazy getting prepped for the show and making sure everything's in place and ready to go. And we never get a pot for the grains. Ever.
That's right.
You know, we never do that.
All right, going off camera.
We don't have to do it right now. We got like 40 minutes or so.
True.
Even more than that. So other interesting things that we're going to do today is a 90-minute boil. Because I read about it somewhere. Let's be honest.
It'll just pull more of the things out that we need for the brew.
Right. So we discovered if you have ever like done brewing or anything, and you've ever wondered, it's like, why is it so important to chill the wort quickly? We wondered about that. It's like, why is that so important to get it chilled quickly? Because we're like, you know, as long as it doesn't get infected, who cares? So could you like cover it and just let it chill on its own? But we did that once because dinner was ready.
We thought, well, there was snow on the ground. We thought,
Yeah.
we'll just pack some snow around it.
So we shoved it in a snow bag,
because it was
covered it, and then we went off and ate dinner and came back.
And then put it
Then
in
it
the
was
microwave.
still too warm.
Yeah.
We still had to chill it after
Yeah.
that. Point being that it did not chill quickly at all. It took quite a while to get cold, or cold enough to pitch. And I think, was that the one
that was the
didn't
IPA that we didn't care for too much. Or that I
Yeah.
didn't care for yet.
That was the one that
I
it
think
just.
that was. Just was like, ooh, this isn't good.
Yeah, so we did some studying on it, and we found out that, yeah, chilling, because the longer it's warm, just like, and I've mentioned this before, just like if you take cookies out of the oven and you leave them on the hot cookie sheet, even though they're on top of the stove, they're still cooking.
We're gonna bake a little more, yeah.
They're still going to keep cooking, exactly. And so it's the same, the chemical processes that are happening within your wort as you're during the boil and all that stuff are still happening. And if you don't chill it quickly enough, they don't stop. And so it changes how your beer turns out. So, with that said, quick chill. How did I get on quick chilling?
You just started talking about it.
It couldn't have been that random. There must have been a reason. Have another beer. Oh, I will. 90-minute boil. That's why. That's right. So the 90-minute boil does a couple things. Number one is it concentrates the flavors a little more, which is kind of a little bit yes and no, because after you get done boiling, you top off to 5 gallons.
Right, so you dilute it a little
So
bit.
any concentration you did gets diluted, but it also keeps it, those chemical processes that are happening within the boil, they happen for a longer period of time. Anyway, so I read that with Scotch ales, one of the techniques they'll use is they'll go for a longer boil, and that will change it. So yeah, we're gonna do that too.
Sounds good. We what did we do that was a 90-minute boil not too long ago?
The Newcastle Clone is a 90-minute boil.
That's
Now that's an interesting one because in the steeping grains it calls for torrefied wheat. And everything I've read, there is no use of torrefied wheat
Right.
as a steeping grain. Right, yeah, that is a mash grain.
Yeah. I
So
don't know, man.
I don't know why that recipe calls for it, but I know this. It turns out really good, so I'm not gonna mess with it.
I know we've done it. We've used it every time. So
Yeah, and we've done it like 3 times, I think. We've done that recipe.
Something's
3
got to
times.
come off those, or the wheat, using the wheat to
Yeah, there's gotta be, there can't be nothing comes
Right.
out of it, but that's not what torrefied wheat's for. Malted wheat either. In fact, a lot of your malts, they're not so much a steeping grain as they
Right.
are,
They're a malting grain. Excuse me.
Right, well, and it's just like, you have roasted barley and unmalted barley. Those are both steeping grains.
Right.
Or can be used as steeping grains. But then, your malted barley, that's a malt grain, you know, a mashing grain.
That's for mashing, yeah.
Right. So.
They're not like in potatoes.
Yes.
You're not mushing anything. It's just the term used to when you convert the starches to the sugars. So.
In case they didn't know that, which they might have known that.
Might have known that.
But then again, we are kind of talking down to them like they're all beginners.
True. Can't assume everybody is a complete beginner.
That's true.
But I can't assume everybody knows what we're talking about either. It's you got to try. To find a balance,
Indeed,
you know?
we got to strike that balance, and you know.
So if you're an expert, which you know, please don't be offended by us.
Feel free to chime in the comments and tell us where we're wrong.
We by no means consider ourselves experts.
Then we will block you because
this is
our show.
Right? If anything, I mean, I consider myself experienced, but not an expert. So.
Well, we're learning things all the time. Like we were discussing just the other day. We were discussing this whole concept of steeping. It's like, do all grain brewers steep? And the reason that came up is because particularly when I was doing my research for this whole thing, they kept talking about percentages and the grain bills, but the language that they used in all of these articles really made it seem like everything was going in all at once.
Right.
You know? And it's like, so this should only be 2% of your grain bill. And it's like, well, I'm using.
You mean steeping grain bill or
grain
bill?
It's like I'm using 10 pounds of liquid syrup here. How does that figure in? Is it all weight?
Yeah.
And apparently, yeah. You know, it's like you kind of try and, like, if you're an extract guy like us, you kind of try and figure out what the grain bill would have been. You go with weights, right? And I forget what. There's actually a formula you can figure out how much grain went into a liquid malt extract, and then you can figure out your grain bill even more closely.
Why did you turn it off?
I don't know. That's not a good thing. Maybe because you dropped it. It's mad at you.
I have the old dial one if you need to use it.
The little tiny one?
Yeah, it sucks, but it'll work as a backup. I tried to find a bigger dial one, but they weren't detailed enough. They were like beat thermometers. So I just grabbed this for like $10 for now. Our original digital one we had, one of the 10th digit burned out on it, so it kind of need that place. You know what I mean?
You know what we could do? I mean, it wouldn't be hard. Is we could grab
a laser. You ever seen those laser temperature?
Expound.
Oh, it's like a laser you can use to take the temperature. I don't know how accurate they are, but I'm being silly. We're almost at 130, by the way.
I like it though. I mean, it's a cool idea. I mean, anytime you get to use a laser.
Yeah, you just shine the laser in there and somehow it reads the temperature.
But I was thinking we could get like my wife's oven one.
Oh.
That has the probe that is designed to take heat.
Right.
You just chuck it in there.
Leave
you
it in there.
Set it on a little stand right there, and then you can look at it. It's like, oh, it's 190 degrees for
I
heat.
did look at a couple of those too. I was like, do we need that?
We don't need it. I mean,
but it'd be nice to have.
We could just feel the pot and guess.
Yeah, it's 150.
All right, maybe not that.
Now that my fingertip's gone. No, that would be kind of cool just to set it up where we have a real time reading. I'll have to go back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, but it is one of those things where at this point, it's not necessary.
Right.
That thing works just fine.
Sure. It does the job.
So I tell you about the song I heard on the way in today?
No. Tell me about your song.
Ain't Nothing That a Beer Can't Fix.
I bet that's a wonderful song.
It is a great song. Who's
it by?
I don't know. It was on the radio. Hard country, like hardcore, like country sounding country, not the new country that's coming out.
Like original country,
Yeah, with the twangy guitars and so like 70s, like 60s, 70s country.
Waylon Jennings country kind of
thing, So like not quite Hank Williams Sr. country.
Right.
And although probably shared a lot of sounds with that, the problem with a lot of that old country is not so much the music, it's the recording equipment.
Oh, right.
Very
subpar by today's standards, or even any standards, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's just, subpar or just old.
Was it like Hank Williams Sr., like 1950s country?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We look him up.
Like Chet Atkins era type stuff,
Well, Chet Atkins he ran for quite a while.
Yeah.
He only died a few years ago.
Right, but he goes back to, I think, 50s and 60s as well.
Yeah. Let's find out.
He used to play like a big old, like steel body kind of electric guitar, I believe.
Well, Chet Atkins was an acoustic.
Oh, I thought he played electric. Like one of those, like, I can't think of the name of that. I know the style, but I can see it in my head, but I can't think of the name. It's like a hollow body electric.
Yeah, arch tops, things like that. So, wow.
I see a lot of jazz players use them.
Hiram Williams. His name was Hiram. Right. He was born in 23. He died in 53.
Oh, okay.
So,
pretty old.
Yep. He recorded 35 singles. Yeah, he was your classic country song. His whole life was a country song.
Right.
I mean, he really didn't have a good life. Heart failure caused by drug and alcohol abuse. That's how he died.
135 degrees, by the way.
Other names. Oh, he had other names. Luke the Drifter, Hillbilly Shakespeare, The Singing Kid, Timber Snake, and Mr. Lovesick Blues.
All right.
He married, this woman, Audrey Shepard, he married her in 44 and they divorced in 1952. A lot of his songs were all about her and him chasing her.
So it was like the classic, lost my wife, lost my truck, my dog, kind of, that's where it all started, huh?
Exactly. So his career was 37 to 52.
Okay.
So he started in 1937.
Yeah.
Which he was born in 23, so that's what, 15? So his recordings, yeah, so in 37, producers hired him to perform and host a 15-minute program. And then he was fired by the Grand Ole Opry because he was drunk and he didn't show up. No offense, Hank, but I'd have fired you too.
Yeah, man, that's your job, is to perform. There's an expectation there.
Yeah, well, he was famous for that. I'll tell you what, his kid, Hank Williams Jr., kind of played the same game.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, there's a lot of his fans that are like kind of, they get bent at him. It's like, yeah, he was supposed to show up, but he wasn't. He was drunk and he sucked. It's like, all right.
I mean, being on stage drunk is one thing, but at least show up,
Yeah. So, in any case, yeah. So he didn't have a super long career. Obviously he wasn't alive that long.
Right.
But
he did kick off a whole paradigm of music, though.
well, he's iconic, that's for sure. So, anyways, not quite Hank Williams Senior type music. This beer that ain't nothing that a beer can't fix, but definitely country. When you think country music, fiddles and twangy guitars, that's the one.
Those lap guitars are what they're called.
That's lap steel, pedal steel. Well, pedal steel is a pedal steel. It's not quite you. It lays flat like this, and it has pedals to do things. And then a lap steel it sits on your lap.
Right.
But yeah.
All slidey and stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I usually associate with like this classic country music, and not the modern day rock and roll sounding country. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Which music is music. It's all.
Oh no, I'm not hating on it. It's just very different. Country like heavy metal, which is my thing, has evolved over the years.
It's true. We listened to some new metal the other day.
You listen to something from like 1985. It has a completely different style and tone to something today. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was. Well, it's like, we were listening to that new metal, like, we're just like, what's some new metal that came out?
Right.
And we weren't impressed.
I don't remember who we were listening to, though. What was it?
It was just random bands that were just released within the last 5 years or so.
Okay.
We just did a search on YouTube.
Right. I remember the search. I just couldn't remember if there was anything specific. I didn't recognize that. I didn't recognize any of the band names that came up, but they might have been non-mainstream U.S. bands, or foreign bands that haven't gotten known over here yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, can you think of a modern metal band? Someone that's come out in the last 10 years.
In the last 10 years?
Mm-hmm.
See, that's hard for me because I don't pay attention that much anymore. I just kind of stick with what I know. Like brand new, like debut album in the last 10 years. I can't think of anybody. Maybe the Ravens Age.
Raven's Age?
Yeah, they saw them open up for Iron Maiden in 2019.
Well, how old is Lamb of God? I mean, obviously they're mainstream. They have these T-shirts, right?
Yeah,
they toured with Megadeth.
They came out like 97, 98 time, for maybe 96.
Okay, so
I mean,
that's
they're
still,
older, they've been around for a while, but they're not like brand new, you know what I mean?
yeah, but what, like 2010, can you think of anything from 2010?
Like debut album? No.
Yeah, part of that's just because we don't follow it as
Don't
close.
follow it, yeah. I might hear something on the radio, it's like, oh, I like that, and look it up, but I don't, you know. As far as like buying material, I'm usually just buying things for the bands that I already like, you know.
Right.
I don't really buy a whole lot of music anymore. I mean, just period. I just kind of listen to what I have.
We're old. You're old. I don't want to say that I'm old. Unfortunately, I'm older than you.
Like,
so
I'll
if I
buy
call
the,
you
or
old,
like I'll buy the new album. Like I just bought Iron Maiden's new album that came out earlier this month. You know,
so you buy the new album of old music.
pretty much. Megadeth will be releasing a new album here. I don't know when. Hopefully soon. I think it was supposed to be out already, but then when the Dave Ellison thing happened in May, they re-recorded all the bass parts with the new guy.
You bought any new albums yet? Yes. I bought the 7th edition of this band's greatest hits.
Right?
Don't you also own the 5th edition and the 3rd and the 1st? So you buy odd numbers of the greatest hits. And what songs were on it? The same as the 1st and 3rd.
No, I'm not that
Why?
crazy.
Why would you do that?
I don't know, just the new music. I'm not trying to sound like curmudgeonly, but just some of the new music just doesn't appeal to me, man. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of things about it. Number one, pop music. And when I say pop, I'm using it very loosely.
Right.
Right.
I know there's like pop is considered something.
Right. So there's a genre.
If I say pop, I'm talking, if it's on the radio, it's pop.
Right. Popular. We'll call it popular music. And we can
Any kind of give me rock station.
We can even roll simple jazz into popular music,
Sure.
right? Not some of the really esoteric, crazy
Right.
jazz. I mean, that's definitely not
Avant-garde
popular.
kind of jazz.
Yeah, those guys put on concerts and 4 people show up, and one of them is the front of the house mixer.
Right.
But they're pushing the envelope. That's what a lot of guys are. They're trying to be. Everybody's always trying to be the next Beethoven.
Mhm.
Which is weird because Wagner changed a lot of music, but people don't ever give him. It's Beethoven he's like the guy that people look at like, wow, that guy changed music.
They were contemporaries, weren't they?
Wagner was
Maybe a little bit of overlap.
Well, maybe a little overlap. Wagner was younger than Beethoven. He was after Beethoven.
Oh, okay.
It was him and Franz Liszt and there's a couple others. I think they made up the Viennese school. Right. And they were all part of the bigger is better and this whole concept. They were doing the same thing that Beethoven did, really. They were trying to find that new thing. What's the new thing? You shut up, punk. I've been talking about beer and entertaining people and just this is a really dangerous beer. Have I mentioned that?
We like to tease each
It
other.
caught Steve.
We like to tease each other. But
So-
drinking our beer.
So in any case, trying to do the new thing. That's in the classical world, or let's call it serious music if
Right.
you want to. Right. In the popular music world, the 1-4.
Now is messing with you.
I want another one though. The 1-4-5 paradigm has been like, as far as I can tell. So the oldest fully written song we have it's like over 2,000 years old. It's from like BC, right? BC time somewhere. They found it on this grave marker thing. I'd have to look it up. It's called the Epitaph of Sekulos, right?
Is the notation what we use today, or is it some kind of different? Is it different?
No, it is not, but they figured it out. I mean, they were able to read. It's not really in notation, but well, they were, because they were able to figure out the melody. It's got a full melody, full verse, full everything, right? And from that, you can figure out the harmonic structure, right?
Right.
Anyway, so this song's super old, from before written music ever happened, right? Because written music, I mean, the concept of written music didn't really come out until like the 13th century.
All right, maybe we're at 150. I'm gonna go ahead and start the timer.
Yeah, do it, man. This is why I like brewing beer with you, because you actually keep track of things like that, and I do not.
But yeah, go ahead.
It's amazing any of my beer comes out good. Anyhow, so what was I saying? So anyways, written music. So this is really old, and apparently there's something even older, like thousands and thousands of years ago, some Sumerian text.
Oh wow.
but they only have like just a few, like a couple lines and like 7 or 8 words. They just have a little bit. They can tell that it was music. It's on a clay tablet, of course. It's not on any sort of paper.
No,
but it is really old. But anyways, this Epitaph of Sekulos is the oldest complete song that we have. And it is in classic 1/4/5 form, right?
Right.
So you've got your basic, and then you go to your dominant, and then back to your basic, you know? So it's just regular pop music, 1/4/5.
Just 2,500 years old.
Right, and the lyrics distill down to "Don't worry, be happy."
Are you serious?
Dead serious. I have it on YouTube. You can go to my YouTube channel. You can look it up, and you can listen to the Epitaph of Sekulos on my YouTube channel, which is, by the way, is Montana Nights. It's YouTube/Montana Nights. Nights is spelled Knights because I'm a musician and I'm allowed to misspell things. It's like this little law. It's a federal law. I don't know which.
Federal law.
I don't know which CFR it is. CFR 2.
All musicians will be permitted to misspell things.
Yes. I actually sometimes wish I hadn't done that. I thought it was really clever when I was 18.
In some cases, you can rename yourself with symbology. It's not even an alphabet.
Yes. It's not. In fact, it's no symbol anyone knows.
Right.
Nobody. That symbol is not from anything. You just
Look like
made it up.
Look like a mixture of different symbols.
It looked like a Dr. Seuss character.
Yeah.
It looked like something out of Dr. Seuss to me. It's just.
Yeah.
All right. Good talk. Anyhow, you can listen to it. You can listen. Just put my name, Jamie Aston, and JAMEY, and throw it into YouTube, and you can find the Epitaph of Sekulos. And I think I do have a translation on there and stuff. I sing it in the old Greek, which is funny because I have a Greek friend who really identifies with his Greekness. He goes to Greece. He's like, and he speaks Greek. And I was worried about the translation, and he looked at me and he says, "Nobody has spoken this language in 2,000 years."
Oh, wow.
He says, "No one knows how to pronounce these words." Because as a singer, when you go into a foreign language, you try and do good pronunciation, right?
Sure,
You don't want to sing Italian with an American accent. You want to sing Italian with an Italian accent as best you can, right? So you spend lots of time studying how we say E, and the Italians will say E, or but like if they do have an E sound, it's not with a diphthong, which the E, an American E actually is 2 sounds. That's what a diphthong. Why are you laughing at me? You know what?
Because you're going on a diatribe about the American E and the Italian E. I think it's interesting, actually, if I'm laughing.
Okay, well, it's a variety show.
I know.
We could just stare at the beer.
No, don't take it as an insult.
I know.
It's funny. It's like, here we go. We're gonna learn something now.
You know what? You do this to me with code. Of course, I do it on purpose.
I know.
We'll be like, when we're not on camera, we'll be sitting at my house, and the conversation will lag, and so I'll just look at him and I'll say, "Code." And he's like, "I don't want to talk about code." And I'm like, "Yeah, you do." He's like, "No, I don't." 45 minutes later, he stops talking about code. It's great.
So, the American E.
The American E. And
Beer, by the way.
actually,
There's 2 E's in beer.
true. It's gone.
Eater.
So actually, a lot of our vowels, O, U, A, E, most of our, I accented it on purpose.
No. I was gonna ask about why. Sometimes why?
Yes, sometimes why, Steve.
Thank you.
Certain, like, is not too bad. Most of our long forms, though, A, E, Y, O, and U is like 3. U. So it's a combination of sounds, right? And that's what they call a diphthong, where it's like one letter, but it has 2 sounds. So the American tongue, the American English in particular, is full of that stuff, right? And a lot of other languages aren't, like Italian. The Italian E's, it's not E, it's E. So you do that glottal stop where you actually stop the air instead of bite it off with your mouth and use like your tongue and your teeth and your various, the mouth musculature to stop the sound. You just use your diaphragm basically and stop pushing air and let it stop. E. It's very hard. Oh, ah. Because we don't say oh, we say oh. Oh what?
Right.
Oh what? Kind of like Canadian houses. Houses. House. Hey, who we got there? Hey Chase. Thanks for tuning in, man.
Hey, Chase. All them toes doing.
So it was just funny because Peter, my friend, he was saying, he's like, nobody knows how to pronounce this stuff. He's like, I'm telling you, if you are working on it and anyone says that's not how you do it, you can look at them and tell them you don't know. No, obviously there's just some various, you look at the spellings of things and just like apply some basic knowledge from whenever. It's like, well, it should kind of go like this. Kind of like your E's, like the letter E would probably be A's or things like that. So like epitaph of Seikilos, Seikilos.
Sounds like we're kind of hot anyway.
Oh, okay.
So I'll let it equalize. We're not over temperature, but it's climbing.
Yeah, and it'll go through the roof if it wants to.
Time wise, sorry, I mean, I don't know if you're, we still have 23 minutes. Probably have to put the fire back on a little bit, but that's all right. I just want to let it equalize.
So this part is pretty easy. So anyways, that's the epitaph of Seikilos. How did I get on it? Because we're talking about popular music. All of that, 15 minutes of talking about what seems to be maybe unrelated to get back to why you aren't up on the modern heavy metal scene, right? Because the epitaph of Seikilos, like I said, 2,000 years old, right? 1, 4, 5, and the lyrics are, don't worry, be happy, right? Distilled in a very crude manner, but seriously,
right.
It really is. I think I played it in G or something, and it was just, it was G or D, one of the two. It was like D, A, G were the chords. It just super simple, big folk chords down at the bottom, easy to play. Excuse me. But in any case, so it's that old, right? So now move all the way forward here. You and I grew up in the pretty much the 80s,
Later 80s, early 90s is when I really,
right.
Late 80s, but 87 is when I really started noticing music and like knowing what I liked. You know what I mean?
Yeah, see, that's probably about where I was, because, I was like 13, 14 in that area, right? Kind of in that teenage where all that stuff's important, and you might have enough pocket change to actually go buy an album type deal, as opposed to when I was 5.
Yeah.
It was like, I was liking Sesame Street, I guess, at that time.
Whatever was on the radio.
Whatever mom and dad were playing, that's where. But my point being is, so we grew up during that time, and then we're probably still listening to music with some sort of interest, through the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
There's a lot of new stuff that came out in the 90s, too,
Right, well, there's new stuff coming out now. We just don't pay attention.
That I picked up on in the 90s.
Right, well, that's because we were still paying attention, right? We're still young enough and stuff was still kind of new and interesting, right? You hit the 2000s and things are starting to trail off.
Set your ways, but at least we were. Guys our age are probably setting our ways.
And it depends on, how deep into music you go. I'm a musician, so I'm like always listening. But I gotta tell you, after a while, I stop listening to the latest new pop band or the rock and roll band, and now I'm listening to the jazz guys, and now I'm going back to the classical guys. And I have my own opinions on class. It's a music episode today. I'm just going to say that. We are going to talk about music this entire episode. Music and beer. That's it.
So right. We had always said that we don't just always talk about beer, so.
No, it's just easier to just let it roll, right?
Let it roll.
So anyhow, the whole thing was just that, so up to about 2000 is probably where we're probably most interested in music, right? You get into the 2010s, and at that point, when people are asking you, what do you want to listen to? It's like, I want to listen to Megadeth, or in my case, I want to listen to Alan Jackson, or Marty Robbins or
Right.
something, one of the things that I grew up with. And there's a couple reasons. Number one, we also form mnemonic switches, right? So let's say, I don't know, when did you first hear Symphony of Destruction?
On the radio when the album came out.
Right.
92.
And what was happening in your life at the time?
In high school.
Right? Okay, that's kind of generic. Was it a good time of life? Was it a bad time of life?
It was pretty good, I guess. I mean, I was doing the garage band thing with some friends, and
Right.
played a bunch of cover songs, a bunch of metal cover songs. High school was high school.
Right, but so my point is this whole mnemonic switch, like the psychological attachment, all of that stuff that was happening in your life is attached to that song in your head, and so like certain songs,
Right.
it's just like that song is linked here, and it's like I'll always like that song. There's some songs that I went back and listened to, it's like, wow, this is a really bad song. And I still like it because whatever was happening in my life when that song was popular and I had not yet realized it was a horrible song, there were great things happening. It's like, yeah, I remember that part. That was cool,
Right.
And other songs, it's like if certain songs are linked to bad things in your life. Now, I don't know about you, but the truth about me is I haven't had a bad life. Like, I've had some bad things happen.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not like I had like a run of a year and a half of just absolute depression where I just couldn't get out of it.
Same here. I mean, yeah, it's had some crappy things over the years. People died in the family.
Yeah.
Things like that. But never had a hard bout.
Yeah. So I don't really have any songs that are connected with horrible.
Yeah,
things
same
in my
here.
life.
I think that's why.
But even then, even if you were having a hard time in life, that song helped you get through it. So you have. It's linked to a bad time in your life, but there's a positive emotional connection to the song. Point being that that's one of the reasons we like the songs from when we were young,
Right.
They help us feel. They help remind us what those feelings
Right.
were.
But here's the thing: is that going back to this epitaph of Sekulos, right? 145, don't worry, be happy, right? So it's kind of a love song. Wherever you go, may the wind blow free, and may the sun shine on your face type stuff, right? So really, don't worry, be happy. I hope life is good for you. That's the message of the
Literally what the
song.
message is.
Point being, how much of our music right now, that's the message.
Right. We
Think
a lot
about
of
it.
pop music,
Right.
or it's romantic stuff.
Yeah, it's like, oh baby, you're so cool. Your teeth are like goats running off the hills of Mount Sinai and stuff. Just, whoa. You'd have to know a little bit about the Song of Solomon to appreciate that joke. The Song of Solomon is not children's reading. Really, not children's reading.
Yeah.
It's like right on the edge of erotic.
Oh.
Yeah. You should read it sometime just to chuckle. You will chuckle.
Song of Solomon, huh?
The Song of Solomon. It's a book of the Bible.
Okay.
Don't worry, you don't have to buy a Bible. You can look it up. It's on the internet.
I'm sure there's one.
You should
around.
definitely read the King James Version. Confusing, but
What the hell does that mean? Am I gonna spend more time in the thesaurus than I am the Bible?
no, probably not. But you will probably marvel at the amount of times it says bosoms. Like, yes, bosoms. That book definitely does not mind talking about bosoms. It's reality. The Bible's
Hey,
a
you know
real
what?
thing.
King James liked tits also.
Got it. But King James didn't write the Song of Solomon.
I know. That's being facetious.
All right, getting off that. So the point being is like you have these themes, these general themes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have these harmonic structures and melodies. Well, there's only so much of that you can do, right? And so when some 14-year-old comes up, and let's say you're talking with them, like, we know 14-year-olds and we'll talk back, like in a good way, you can have a conversation
Right.
with them.
They're adult enough that you can actually have a conversation, but they're
Right.
still not
Just
sure.
14,
Yeah.
right. But they'll be like, oh, hey, have you heard this really cool song? And you're like, no, let me listen to it. And they play it, and you're like, yeah, I have heard that. In 1991.
Oh, yeah.
Because the song that they're playing to you, right? It's
Not really new to us. It's new to
right.
them,
It's like,
I have a case in point in which you're done.
maybe the synthesizer, they changed the low frequency
Right.
envelope a little bit or oscillator a little bit. Maybe they did this. But pretty much the subject matter the chords, the melody, it's all
the same. Yeah.
it's like I have heard that before.
Well,
Go ahead, case in point.
to even kind of, build off of that, there's a lot of, which a lot of people interpret these things as new music, but it's actually covers of older songs. There was a guy I worked with, and he was singing that new version of that, like, "Hey, What's Going On" by the original Four Non Blondes. He never knew that it was originally a song from the '90s. He thought it was whoever was doing it like a couple years ago. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, I know what's going on, but I only know the Four Non
No,
Blondes.
there's a new version.
Wait, was that Four Non Blondes or Cranberries?
Four Non Blondes.
Okay.
There is a new version that was released a couple years ago by somebody. I don't know, some pop singer.
Okay.
And this friend of mine that I work with, he's a younger guy. Well, not that much younger. He's like 32 or something like that. But still, there's enough of a gap there that he never realized it was originally a song from 1990 or whatever year Four Non Blondes put that out. So.
Yeah. I mean,
and then you hear a lot of remakes that are being passed off as new, and it's just like, no, it's not new. That song came out in the '80s, or that song came out in the '70s.
Right.
With my own daughter, I can't remember the name of the song, but there was a lot of songs. She's like, "Hey, Dad, check this song," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's so and so." She's like, "No, it's this person." I'm like, "No, that is so and so."
Yeah. Well, that takes it to the next extreme, where it's like, have you heard this song? Yes, I heard it in 1994.
But I know what you're saying as well. Like all the patterns have kind of been figured out now. People are
right. There's only so much you can do.
Doing the similar pattern with a little bit of spice on it. You got to make it sound good.
Yeah. And that's okay. I mean, I still write songs. I mean, how many songs have been written about beer? Quite a few.
I'd say
lots of songs have been written about beer, right? So I'm writing this one that we're gonna drink them all song, and it's very much. It sounds like Dropkick Murphys. Yeah, it's. I'll have it done soon.
Okay. Oh, it was a legit question, actually.
I know.
Wasn't being sarcastic.
For
once, I wasn't being sarcastic.
But no, I mean it's not amazing. I'm gonna love it. It's gonna be fun, and it will be new in the idea that maybe we've forgotten, right? And so for people and music is so weird. A lot of things are really weird. Art is really weird.
Right.
Right. I mean, just a ton of things, just weird why we like things, right? So I produce a song, right? And I've said this, it's like, look, I think I'm a pretty good songwriter. I do. And I have a good talent with melodies, harmonic structure, and words, and gluing those three things together into a pleasing system that flows and is poetic and is okay, right? But there's thousands of people just like me, just on the I-5 corridor, let alone the entire United States, right? So this is something I've been talking about with a lot of people who are online. They're all trying to compete with 7.5 billion people. It's like, whoa. Okay, fine. So we're streaming, right? This is actually a good example, right? We're streaming, but
wait, we are? All this time I've been on camera?
For several months now, Steve.
Oh.
Welcome to Northwest Brewmeisters. Hi, I'm Jamie.
I think I'm Steve.
No, but the point. Well, here's the deal, right? So we're streaming, but what are we really doing?
Brew a beer.
We're brewing beer, right?
We're
talking.
process.
It's something that we can do, so it's almost secondary. No offense, and if people would watch and they would comment, we would love to chat with them, and it'd be a lot of fun, right? I mean,
hey, Rory, Bo, we missed you last time, man.
Yeah, where's Bo Adams? Hasn't been around for a while. Anyhow, but the point being is that this is almost secondary. The whole streaming part of things, right? We're brewing the beer. And where I'm wrapping that into is like when you're a musician, it's like, oh, I've got to stream. I've got to be on Twitter. I've got to be on Facebook. I've got to be on Instagram.
Every social media platform.
I've got to be here. I got to be here. It's like, no, you have to be down there on the street corner talking to people who can actually know you.
Right.
Because there really is there's something about a face-to-face connection. And what's interesting is it needs to be two-way, right? So I made real friends with my friend Peter and Jen Edwards, right? These are true friends of mine, right? They're not like some random social connection. Right, I met them and talked to them. Now, I know of, or I've interacted with another person whose name is Nancy L. Well, maybe it's Leal. Doesn't matter. She's a Twitter contact, right? And we've had conversations back and forth. She lives in Venezuela, right? So that's fun because it gets me a chance to exercise my Spanish. But it's all text, just direct messages on Twitter, right? You know, hi Nancy, how you doing? You know, and she writes in English and I write in Spanish and we go back and forth. And that's kind of fun.
Kind of help each other practice, huh?
Yeah, so it's nifty, right? You know, and then you can do corrections. It's like, no, this is how you'd say it in English, and no, this is how you'd say it in Spanish, et cetera, et cetera. So that's cool. But I don't have a very strong connection with her, you know?
Right,
Like,
you just text on a screen, you know?
right, I mean, I know what she looks like because she has an avatar and she used her real face. Kind of like, I mean, people know what I look like if they go to my Twitter because I used my real face.
Right.
You know, because that's my musician side. I want people to know what I look like, et cetera, et cetera. Point being, but it's only text, and so it's a very surface level relationship as far as that, right? But my friend Peter and Jem, you know,
We're at 9 minutes. Just heads up.
probably get the bowl.
Get the ball.
Right. And just hurry, and I can continue my diatribe about forming relationships online. You can actually do it. But one of the things that really made the relationship with my friend Peter and Jem, and my friend Daniel Roberts, who lives in Brazil, by the way, is that we saw our faces and we had conversations with video chat where you could see the reactions to the words and the actual body language. All that stuff happened, and it really cemented the relationship into a real relationship as opposed to just like a text-based, you know, chat relationship where you don't really know the person. You know, and the reason I say it's two-way is because one of the artists that I follow, her name is Ray Herring. She's really cool. You should look her up. She's got some great music out there on Spotify. I really like her because she's very unique. Talking about unique music, Ray Herring has some really unique stuff. It's just a little bit different than what you hear all the time. Some of her stuff is definitely your standard pop music, but some of her stuff is kind of new and cool. But my point with Ray is that, you know, she's still, even though she's like someone I really like, you know, if she stops broadcasting, like our favorite broadcasting app, Periscope, is gone now, right? Totally gone. That's what we used to use. Lots of us.
Yeah, I remember you used to use that.
We're on Periscope, and Periscope was very popular. And of course, now we're on Haps, which Haps used to broadcast to Periscope because, oh, by the way, Haps, the multicast function is awesome. I really like it. We need to set up a Twitch account just because we don't do anything broad.
How many times have we said that?
Lots. I blame you. Maybe. Okay, blame me. Anyhow, the point is that my relationship with Ray, I see her on video all the time.
Oh, right.
But my responses are all text, you know? So really the whole relationship it's not as strong as the relationship with me and Peter and Jem and Dan because it was a two-way video thing. And it just made it stronger. And then I went out and ate dinner at Peter and Jam's house, which I'm sure that was a new one for them. It's like, what do you want to do when you're in England? You know, and of course people are like, I want to see Big Ben, which Timo wanted to see Big Ben. I want to go to London, and I want to go to the Cliffs of Dover, and I want to do this. And I was like, I want to eat dinner at your parents' house. Like, what? Yes, I want to go out to dinner at a genuine English person's house. That's culture to me.
Right, not the tourist stuff, you know.
Right. I mean, the tourist stuff is fine, you know.
Right.
There's nothing
If
wrong
you really
with
want
the
to experience
tourist
the
stuff.
culture, do in Rome, do
When in
Romans do.
Rome, do what the Romans do.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, Diana's fountain is not English culture. It's Diana's fountain. You know, it's a tribute to Diana. It's okay. That's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. How's it smell?
Smells toasty.
Toasty? That's good. That's good.
No, it smells good. It's really dark. It's gonna be a very dark beer. I'm gonna lighten up a little bit when we dilute it with the water, but it's definitely gonna be a darker beer, man. It's almost stouty. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's because of the chocolate and the roasted barley.
Yeah, that's why I'm smelling the toastiness because of that roasted barley.
Right. Well, I pushed it as far as, and the Special B is kind of like that too.
Oh, it is? Okay.
I guess Special B can add a few hints of like raisins and stuff, but yeah, I really wanted to push it that level as far as I could.
It'll be fine.
It would be a nut brown Scotch Ale stout.
Yeah, nut brown Scotch stout.
We'll call it
Beer and rain.
the Portly Stout Scotch Ale.
Yeah. In 20 seconds, we'll have 4 minutes remaining.
In 20 seconds, we'll have 4 minutes remaining.
I know, so they got it backwards on purpose.
So anyhow, musicians.
I want to grab the LME and get it, start getting it ready. And the ladle.
Ooh, ladle. You gotta end with an ooh. And I'm on camera alone. Again, this happens. We do not plan these broadcasts well, I gotta tell you. So in any case, point being that for musicians, you gotta hit your local town. I mean, sure, you can develop a web presence and maybe you'll get followers and stuff like that. But it's still, you're competing against billions of people when you go on the internet. Whereas if you jump into the local town, you just do your local stuff and then people will know you. And this is, I'm rolling back around to that whole concept of the reason that we like certain things has this personal attachment, right? So you like my music because I'm your buddy.
Right.
Right? And you're like, yeah, that's great. That sounds cool, right? Some other guy writes pretty much the same stuff, but you don't know him at all, and maybe your reaction is a little closer to meh. And if I get too, like, wrapped up in that, then I start to second guess my own musical skills because it's like, well, he didn't like that guy's music. That guy's music sounds exactly like my music. So maybe he doesn't like my music and he's just being nice because he's my friend. Just possible.
I told you that. That wasn't the case.
I know. I'm just being silly.
But when did you get the results for the contest?
Oh, God, I didn't win.
Oh.
But I didn't expect to win. But I will tell you this, much happier. I feel much less insulted this time
Was the
around.
winner like legit this time?
Yes, the winner sounded much better. They sounded like they took it seriously, which is not to say that the video game guy didn't take the contest seriously. I just think there were lots of problems with that. So I entered the Stargirl scoring contest. Spitfire Audio is a company that makes music libraries for film scoring. You know, so you can buy like guitar sounds and piano sounds and tubas and all sorts of, and a whole bunch of different sound effects and different textures and things. And you can write music, movie music with their stuff. And so it's pretty cool. I have nothing against them. But they had a contest for Westworld, and they took a clip out of Westworld, and it was a chase scene. And then they said, everybody, here's the contest. You need to write music for this chase scene, and these are the things, and we're going to look at it. And they had a list of judges, and Hans Zimmer was one of the judges and all this, and it was really, a lot of people got really excited. And so Spitfire got a little overwhelmed, like literally the company got overwhelmed because I don't think they expected the response that they got. They got a huge response from people. So
Just a minute.
they did the judging and everything, and the winner gets props for creativity. And if you knew the entire backstory to Westworld, then it made more sense what he wrote. Like if you knew that episode, but here's the deal. Spitfire said, you don't need to know Westworld. You don't need to use our products. All you got to do is write music for this clip.
Might write something that works for the clip. Yeah.
And apparently, the music that they used in that clip was Wagner's Ride of the Valkyries. So when this guy won, it was horribly insulting. But But I'm not gonna slam on Spitfire. I mean, I think they just got caught unawares, and then they went with that guy for who knows why. But one of the other problems was that people, so some people did the math, and they're like, all right, there was this many entries, there was this much time, there was this many minutes per entry. You said these guys were going to judge it, doing the math. Yeah, so they all listened to 0.05 seconds of each entry. You didn't listen to my stuff. Which is, people were mad about that. And justly so. They said, these are the judges. It's like, okay, that was my whole thing. I was like, you know what? I don't plan on winning here. I'm not going to go that high. But it's really cool that these people who are major players are going to listen to my music. And then it became obvious that
They had not.
those people did not listen to my music. And that was, it was a little frustrating. I'm not going to lie. And the fact that the person who won, it was just like, I didn't agree. I would not have chosen. This time around, they did one for Stargirl. They did two things right. They reduced the length of the clip by a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the first one was like 4 minutes long, and this one was like, dude, crap kills.
I just realized that. Sorry.
This is the greatest broadcast ever. I don't know why we don't have 1 million followers yet.
There's a crack. Broadcast has a crack problem. Okay.
All right, there we go.
All right. You want to create a worthy world?
Yeah, sounds good. So anywho, the guy who won, and it was interesting. So the woman who is the actual composer for Stargirl, her name is Pinar Toprak. And she mentioned, and it's a really good point, one of the things she mentioned was that music, is a very subjective thing. Nice, look at that. Very few stickies.
Take a moment, y'all.
She said music is a very subjective thing, right? And so she had her reasons for why, the guy's name is Chris Hearn. He won the contest, right? Anyway, she's like, this is why I think that he is the best. And I listened to his, and even without comparing it to mine, just comparing it to like the 7 or 8 other entries that I listened to, again, I don't think he was necessarily that much better or worse than those entries. So why she chose him, that's, for whatever reason, it clicked with her. She's the judge, it clicked with her. And so that's fine. But she said that. She's like, music is really subjective. What I like is not what you like. And I actually really appreciated that. But yeah, this one was a lot closer. It fit. It helps the, man, it's really starting to smell good now.
Yeah, right.
It pushed the story. It wasn't ridiculous. Careful, it's gonna get you sticky. Right there, see that? Don't grab that. Don't grab it. It pushed the story. It didn't seem to be insulting.
Good.
I wasn't nearly as insulted by this winner as the last time. And it's just, it is what it is. But music is. It's incredibly subjective. And the reason that I'm not comparing his, the reason I'm not comparing his to mine is because I want to avoid the whole sour grapes thing. But I'm saying there were other entries out there that I think were very good too. It is. I mean, there's a lot of talented people in the world, man, and that's no joke. It's like, hi, you need to choose between 11,000 entries. 11,000. Now, some of them, granted, I mean, there are some that, like, I did listen to a couple where I would have listened to about 2 seconds, and then like, nope. That they were bad. They were just bad. Some people very obviously didn't follow the rules. There were some rules. And it's not like the rules are super draconian. I mean, they're pretty simple rules. It was like, you can't change the dialogue. You can't change any of the sound effects that we put in. You have to leave those in. You know, that was it. And there was a couple of them. It's like right off the bat, the sound effects were erased, or they had done something, or they didn't sync up. Whenever they built their video back together, they didn't sync it and make it play right.
Right.
And so it was like, yeah. And those entries,
Instant disqualification.
yeah, you get it. It only takes you 4 or 5 seconds of listening before
Like,
you're like,
You didn't follow the rules,
yeah, you
man.
didn't follow the rules, or you just did a poor job, you know. But even then, even with eliminating the really bad ones, it's still, there's still a lot of really good stuff. You know, my friend Autumn Maria Reed, she's a composer out of Wisconsin, right? Y'all should check her out too. AM Reed 8, AMREED 8. You can throw that into the Googles. You can throw Autumn Maria Reed into the Googles. She wrote a song called "You're Not Woke." It's pretty good. She's black, and it was kind of a slam on the white saviors thing.
Yeah, you talked about this before.
Yeah.
On the show.
Yeah. So I'm not. You know, I think when you do political art, in my mind, you have to be very, very good. You have to be subtle, right? You have to make your message without sounding preachy or whatever. But anyway, she wrote that song, and it was like, she did a really good job. I mean, she really did. She put it together.
Good.
Anyways, so she entered the contest too, right? And her entry was very minimalistic. You know, her music just did just enough to support what was going on, right? My entry was kind of in between. It's like I had a lot more music happening type deal. And then there were some folks that, geez, they just went insane. It's like the amount of...
Too many notes.
Yeah.
Not to sound silly, but like literally it's just too much.
Right. Well, that is another thing when you're dealing with directors and things, is that if your music starts to steal the show from their movie, no. This is my movie.
Yeah, not your composition.
Yeah.
Your composition is supporting my movie.
My video is not designed, this is not a music video. That is good. Foam like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
I can already tell, which is weird, because usually we don't get foam problems with
Not too
liquid
often.
malts.
All right, I'm gonna get the hops out. What was the? Oh, it was only just the one.
Well, you don't have to do anything, man. The boil's gonna go for half an hour before we add the centennial.
That's right.
It's a 90-minute boil, and we're not adding the hops until...
Go later. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the 60-minute point.
Right.
All right. Well, let me
You just want to get off camera and leave me here alone.
clean up a little bit, and then I'll be right back.
All right, I'll be here. Maybe we should pay someone. I could pay someone to be on here. So anyhow, the Stargirl contest is over. A guy named Chris Hearn won. I haven't gone back and listened to his piece in total. I also want to listen to the runners up because they wrote some cool stuff. But I think it'll be cool to see. But you should check out Autumn Maria. She's really cool. She's a lot of fun. Like, she wrote that song, "You're Not Woke." You can see that on her YouTube channel.
Okay. We're good. So
Good deal.
Yeah.
I'm just still chatting about music.
I'm a very clean as you go guy, so.
I just let things pile up and then I burn the house down and move. Like, I still haven't pulled those beer cans out of my studio. I was just thinking about asking my wife to do it. I was like, no.
That would be insulting.
It would be. But she gets mad at me when I bring up 2.5 cases worth of beer bottles. It's like, what is this? It's like, I didn't want to bring them upstairs. I was lazy.
I didn't feel like it. All right. Oh, I can leave that there actually. 1 hour, 30 minutes. Yeah. Very good.
Yeah.
All right, we are set for when we get to our boiling point.
Nice. Too bad we can't. Well, we could do music now because YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter aren't quite as draconian. But apparently, from what you're saying, Twitch is just like, man.
Yeah.
Tell them the story about Metallica. That's
Well,
fun.
I don't know all the 100% of the details, but this was during the pandemic when it was like hardcore pandemic, when everything was locked down. Metallica were doing a live stream Twitch from somewhere. I forget what it was. It was commemorating something. I don't remember what it was exactly. But they were playing their music as Metallica. Well, the Twitch algorithm, the automation algorithm, flagged it as copyrighted material. And so what everybody else in the world who was watching this feed was hearing was not Metallica. It was something else. I forget what they changed it to. But it automatically filtered it into whatever this other music was because it was trying to prevent copyrighted material from being broadcasted over the Twitch network, which it was their own material.
Of course, you do see the irony in that, right?
Oh yeah, well, Twitch got a lot of flack for it. Like, really? Come on, you know?
I know, but the real irony, because Metallica,
Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah.
they were one of the front runners with the whole Napster thing.
Yeah.
Oh, we're stealing our music and stuff. And I actually agree with them, but just
Oh no, that is a true irony right there. Yeah,
I mean,
I remember that. There was like 2000, 2001.
yes,
They were like
Napster was
they were the most outspoken ones. In
yeah,
history,
super vocal.
right? Which a lot of people kind of called foul back then too, because in the early 80s, 81, 82, 83, when Metallica got their start, they got their start by people trading cassettes that they had dubbed, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like your foundation was built on trading music, you know what I
It
mean?
was on bootleg. Your
Yeah.
foundation is bootleg, and now here you
No,
are.
the video called Cliff 'Em All was put together from a bunch of bootleg videos that cameras people snuck in during the 80s, you know, big old VHS cameras, you know, like back in the day. But it's
How do you sneak that in? I'm a hunchback.
I know, right? I don't know if they were that big, but it was a lot of like 80s style camcorder, you know, video footage of Metallica concerts that I guess enough of it got brought together and they marketed it as a video called Clip 'Em All because it was all about Cliff Burton, the bass player that died, you know. My point is another contradictory thing. It's like it was bootleg material, you know.
Yes. So here you are profiting off.
But then again, you know, it was different though because you know it's so much easier to copy an MP3 than
Well, it
it is
is.
to copy a cassette.
So
tape.
how long does it take to burn, quote unquote, a cassette tape?
Depends on the length of the tape. You know?
Right. So if it's an hour cassette,
It's gonna be recording. You're gonna be recording, copy that thing for an hour. You know.
right, it's going to take an hour. How long does it take to copy a 5.6 megabyte MP3?
A fraction of a fraction of a fraction. Of a
Less.
You know.
Less. I mean, the time it takes for your finger to actually push the mouse
Right.
button is more time than it takes to copy
The actual copy operation. Yeah.
And that was the whole thing with Napster with the file sharing was that I would have the file, 45 computers
Right.
would link to it. And then 45 computers would link to each of those 45
Oh, sure. I mean,
computers.
I didn't blame them for their argument because that's
Yeah.
potentially lost revenue because of people not buying your record. you
Right.
know?
It's just that who it was
Right.
is the problem. And the fact that they were already filthy rich, you know.
Oh, sure. I mean, by
That's
that
just
time,
like, man, this just
the
makes
black
it so
album
hollow.
was when they made their money. You know, they were probably doing okay, like in their 80s era. You know, but the Black Album was when they really, it was like exponential. It was like, here's Metallica, and then Black Album, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not like, you know, I'm not like sour grapes. So
No, absolutely not.
But that hurt them,
Right.
as far as the strength of their argument. It's
yeah, I think
like,
they lost some fans due to that.
yeah, it made them look greedy.
Yeah.
But there's still a good argument because then there's Ray Herring. Let's go with Ray Herring, my friend, quote unquote friend, you know, the artist that I was talking about earlier, right? So let's say she's trying to make money off of her music, and she has a song called Infinity. Oh, she has several songs that I really like. I could probably play her songs on the broadcast because she'd be cool with it. But let's just go with Infinity, right? That's a good song that she wrote. I enjoy it. She's got it well produced and all. And so let's say she wants to make 99 cents off that song or whatever, you know, 89 cents after Apple takes their cut or whatever.
Sure.
Right?
So it's Apple, but she's probably going to make about 2 cents.
That's true. There's a lot of artists who I've interacted with said, if you want to buy my music, go to Bandcamp.
Or Yeah, you shouldn't, if you can do
Or
it,
Reverb Nation.
try to buy it, from those places that don't take the cut, or if you can do it direct from the artist, because, I mean, yeah, it's convenient to go to iTunes, but Apple, they take a huge percent of that too.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, I think they're kind of greedy, personally.
But on the one hand, it's like they take a huge percent of that, but they have a huge customer base.
Yeah, I know.
You know, and it costs you nothing to reproduce these things. That's the other thing. Is like, what's the reproduction cost on an MP3? 4 millionths of a cent if you're trying to count your power bill.
Right.
I mean, seriously. Ooh, hot break. See the hot break? You see the hot break?
This phone out of here.
I don't know if we can do anything.
It'll break itself down here and start showing up.
We really need to get a multi-camera system going. It wouldn't be hard.
Then we can use OBS and be like, whoop, whoop, you know?
Yeah, we could flip the cameras.
Or even
and
two at one same time.
Yes, and then green screens, and we could brew in space.
No, that would be interesting.
It'd be dumb. Let's be honest here.
It's like, what's that behind you guys? Oh, that's Venus.
That's Venus. We're orbiting there right now. Anyhow, so Ray is trying to make her 89 cents per copy, and some dude puts it on Napster. Let's pretend Napster still exists. And then 45 million people download it.
Right, that's like
That
30
hurts
million
her.
that she didn't make.
Yes. You know, and it's like, that hurts her, legitimately, you know? And I do think that piracy, I think I disagree with piracy, you know, because I am a composer and a songwriter, you know, so.
Most of my software is open source, but if I were to write software that was closed source and that I was selling, I wouldn't want someone to copy it freely.
No, you don't want people to steal
get
that stuff. Right, I mean, because it's still, work went into it, right?
Makes it so easier.
All right, I'll just talk with these people about, so work went into making that song. Work went into the recording of that song. Time was spent. You know, we, humans, we want high quality stuff. We don't want cheesy garage band. We don't want broadcasts of two guys sitting in a garage with beer with bad echoey audio and things like that, right? This is not what we want. We want high quality stuff with slick production values and like a nice chromy kitchen to brew beer in and all that fun stuff, right? Anybody who does watch this can appreciate it. What? Oh, nice. But the point being is that people want good. I was just telling them people want quality music. They want quality video. They don't want two guys sitting in a garage with echoey audio because there's no sound attenuation.
Who does that?
Yeah, that's why this is secondary, you know? But the point being is that they don't want that. But if you want good stuff, then you have to pay money for it, or somebody has to pay money for it, so that the people
Watch the flame a lot.
Yeah, I know what you're doing. But it's so that the people who make the stuff can afford to pay their power bill and buy food while they make the stuff. Because if you don't give them money for that, then they have to go get a job and do something very pragmatic. Sell auto parts, fix aircraft, clean assisted living centers, right? Really pragmatic, useful work that needs to be done. But if you don't pay your artists to make art, then they're gonna have to go do that stuff. And that means 8 to 10 hours of their day is eaten up with just very pragmatic, boring stuff. And then they get home and they've got to vacuum their floors, wash their laundry, they've got to cook themselves food. Maybe they want to lose the 40 pounds that beer has put on them. Boy, do I need to go. I need to do something about this. Getting a little chubby, bud. Point being, we got to do all this, and then I can write music.
By that time, you're either too tired or out of time.
Yeah.
It's like, I need to go to bed, I gotta work in the morning.
Exactly.
You say drunk?
I did.
Or too drunk.
Yeah, you never know. You might have been drinking beer while washing dishes and exercising, and why not?
Yeah.
Because 40 pounds. The hell with that. Relax. Have a homebrew.
Don't worry. We will. Well, many of them. Well, not too many because some people still have to drive. And
I'm pulling into the lead.
I have to work. I have to work tomorrow, but not in the morning though. Are you off tomorrow as well, or are you not?
I'm off tomorrow. Isn't that cool?
Okay, good.
See, nobody pays me to compose, so I have to work, huh? So there you go.
I don't make enough money on software, so I have to work as well.
See? Now we sound like a couple.
I know, right? That's not what we meant.
Wah,
It was an example.
nobody loves us. Wah. I mean, there's things. I mean, because I can be kind of callous, and there is the whole suck it up, Buttercup.
Sure.
You want to make money making music, and you still got to support your family. Well, you go to work, and
Guess
then you
what?
practice
You're not
piano with
singing.
your boys, and then you go write music.
Right.
My weakness. The thing is that I have a good 2 hours every night that I waste.
Yeah. I'll
Because
waste some time during the day before I go to work. It's like I could be writing or I could be coding.
I waste
Well, I do code
time
every day. But
Facebook and Twitter. Not so much Twitter, because Twitter that's my artist site,
Right.
musician stuff, and so Twitter is but Facebook is just stupid political arguing, and it's tons of fun, but it's like playing Fallout.
yeah, that's what my bias is. When I'll code in the morning after I take my kid to school,
Right?
and then I'll give it an hour to 2 hours depending on what I'm working on, and then I'll be like, oh, okay, I'm done coding. Time to play some Fallout or whatever.
Right.
So I go to work. It's just like I could be doing some other things a little more constructively at this point.
Yeah, I mean, and there's just so much stuff that needs to be done. And part of it's just being lazy. It's just
That too, man.
look, man, you had 2 hours. What'd you do? You watch cat videos. Like I said, I can be callous on myself. It's
Right.
like, nobody knows my music. It's like, that's because you argue pointless.
Nobody knows my song because you haven't put your name out there yet.
Yeah, it's like, maybe you would be writing music, but no, instead you decided that it was a good waste of time to look up 17 different articles on the value of corporal punishment so that you could write a 4-sentence post on it. It's like, and change no one's mind. Because you're talking with a whole bunch of people who are not listening to you, but are merely waiting for their turn to post. And I know this because that's how I do it. I read people's comments, but I don't read people's comments trying to understand where they're coming from. I read people's comments to find the little holes in their logic that I can attack.
You could attack.
And zip through. Because it's a game for me. It's not personal. It's just like, you misspelled this. Oh, your insinuation is wrong. Your logic is fallacious. Gotcha.
What he doesn't realize is he's a modern day version of Tyrion Lannister for any Game of Thrones fans out there, because that was what he did. He looked for logic holes in that monarchy game he played on that show. He's never even watched the show, so he knows what I'm talking about. But he's never actually never read the book or watched the show. But
I know he's
that
a
game
Peter
you played?
Dinklage character.
Peter Dinklage is the actor. Yeah, but that's actually how he was, because obviously it's not in your case, but he was a little guy, so he didn't have the physical might to defend himself. So he has mind, and he kind of talks about that one of the seasons, like this is what I know. I beat these people with wits. It's kind of what you're doing with your arguments on Facebook. You're beating them with wits.
And I lose sometimes. It's not like every single time I come away saying, ha ha ha, I'm so clever. Sometimes I come away saying, oh man, he's got a good point and I got nothing.
But what's good though is that you are adult enough to realize, oh yep, this guy got me on wit, or he proved my point wrong, and not have the sour grapes thing going on,
Yeah. The one thing I've tried to do recently is, still do the zingers and all that stuff, because that is fun. But one thing I've tried to do recently is argue more about philosophical or ideological concepts instead of just like argue about people,
Okay.
Well, George Bush did this. It's like, okay, that's fine. That's George Bush. I don't worship George Bush. You want me to fill that? Do you want to empty it before I fill it?
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Did you catch that tone? Did you catch the tone? I certainly caught a tone. I'm sure you did too.
There was no tone. No tone.
No tones.
No tones. There was perfectly neutral offer to. Okay, yeah, there was tone.
There was some edge there. I detected it.
Dude, I like your.
But it was fun edge.
I like your kegerator better than mine.
Why?
Because it's bigger.
Oh, let's get a little warm. Oh, there we go. Well, it's huge. I mean, you probably put a whole cow in there, man. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something I'm thinking about. Now we're talking about buying local. Welcome to Philosophy Central and buy local. Not just American, but local.
Local to your region.
I was thinking about, I know a lot of farmers because of work.
Mhm.
I was even talking about, like, hey man, how much for a whole cow?
Oh yeah.
Like, cow butchered up, chopped up, just throw it in the freezer, buy it in like, I guess you'd probably butcher in the fall. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. They did that. They, as in when I was gone, Brandy and her sister, they kind of went halves on a pig that was raised by the farm. Like they owned the pig. Like this is our pig, and the farm raised the pig until it was time to butcher it. And they butchered it, and then the same idea. They had, there's this whole pig in various cuts. Butchered it and put in the deep freezer.
Should do that.
They had, and I remember them when I first retired from the Navy, they were making food with it still. There was still enough left over. Some of the bacon I had, it was some of the, some of the cuts were used for things, and it was really good. I mean,
the thing about that is like, when you do animals like that, we're used to.
Sorry, pig, your whole purpose is to die, but you're gonna feed my family. Thank you.
Agriculture, dude.
I know.
It's a harsh world.
I'm being silly.
It's like, do you ever see The Island with Steve Buscemi
I think I
and Ewan McGregor
Right.
and that girl and
That girl.
yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen it, but I have seen it.
I want to say it's Jessica Alba. It's one of those actresses who is very pretty, but that was her contribution, right? But she wasn't like a bad actress. Like apparently Megan Fox is very pretty, but bad. Not that I know. I just saw her in Transformers, and definitely her whole contribution was just eye candy. That was it.
Right.
But that could have been as
something
much.
recently.
Who's the guy? Michael Bay? Is that the guy? Who's the director?
I think it was Michael.
Michael Bay. Anyways, I mean that wasn't her fault as much as it was his fault. I mean, think about it. He is a very much high action, low plot director. First, we gotta get to boiling, then
I know, right?
then we start the timer. Anyhow, so
It's getting kind of close.
oh look at that.
It's getting there. We got somebody coming on talking.
Well, they didn't comment,
Oh, it is.
but they subscribed.
Oh.
Full light, with all the L's in there, which makes it hard to read. But
well,
FU, Cool. Full
Full
light.
light.
Subscribe. Welcome, Full Light, if you're still there, and maybe he just hasn't commented yet.
Maybe.
All right. Goodbye. Love you. Bye.
Bye, kiddo. We're about to boil, I think.
We're getting close.
We're on that cusp.
Anyway, so Megan Fox, not her fault, right? I'm not gonna slam on Megan Fox. I don't know. Actually, sometimes. Oh, that was definitely. Oh.
Yeah, that's why I'm like,
Oh yeah. You gotta stay in control. Because this definitely has the potential to go everywhere. There's probably like just short of a whole field of sugarcane in this.
All right. Down.
Oh, Germany, my friend.
Oh, hello.
Right.
That's hello is hello in German.
Oh, okay. I said
Hello. Americans. Americans.
I just thought that you just said hello, but used
No, I said hello.
a German accent. And she's like, really? How insulting could you
No,
be?
I legitimately was saying hello.
Okay. I'm sorry. Willkommen.
Oh.
Thank you for being here. We have that's pretty much the extent of my German. Ich spreche nur ein wenig Deutsch.
What was that movie? The guy was like, I can't speak German, but I can do a good German accent.
Right. It was his name was Bengt.
Oh, it was a comedian we were watching. Yeah.
Right. It was on Dry Bar Comedy, and he was talking about immersion languages and about how he lived in Germany, and they were like, "Oh, you could probably speak good German."
Oh, right, because they assumed because he lived in Germany for a while that he could speak German.
Right, and he's like, no, I cannot speak German, but I can have the correct accent because everybody spoke with German. No, I am actually, if you were to derive my ancestry, I'm mostly English, and then Irish, French, German, and some other. I'm kind of a mutt, but Steve is Irish German.
I'm half German. My dad was born in Stuttgart. And then came to the U.S., learned English, became a citizen. So, but I don't speak German, and I do a terrible German accent. I mean, I know some words here and there, but I couldn't have a conversation though.
And if we do German accents, just roll with it. We are not.
Yeah, we're not trying to be insulting.
Yeah.
Hey, check it out. What do you think?
Textbook
boil. All right, we are good.
So we are glad. We are glad you are here. Are you a beer brewer as well? Do you brew beer? Wow, it's gotta be late in Germany.
Yeah, no, it's probably like very early in the morning, maybe.
Well, let's see. In England, it is.
I don't know if Germany is on GMT or not.
It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. So wow, 2 o'clock, 0200, 2 o'clock in the morning. Okay, not a brewer.
Maybe pull that to night owl.
Yeah, who knows?
Likes to stay up late. I used to do that. I mean, I work at night, so I get it.
Right. So, not a brewer, but you subscribed, and now you're chatting. Very good to meet you. So, we have no idea how much of the conversation that you saw before you subscribed and started chatting back.
Oh, if you have a question, just ask it.
GMT +1.
Okay.
So that's 9 hours.
9 hours
for us.
Yeah, we're on the west coast of the U.S., up in the northwest. All right, we have a nice.
Did you hit start?
Yeah, it's going.
All right.
We have a nice rolling boil here. What we're trying to achieve on our process. So we have an hour and a half to go. I was probably about 2 minutes late on the start button. Got distracted with conversation.
I don't think that's the end.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
It's not science. But
it is. It's chemistry.
Right. So anyways, yeah, we are on the west coast of the United States, up in the northwestern corner, Seattle area, and we brew beer. Every 2 weeks we show up and we brew beer and we talk, and it's kind of split between which is.
Yeah, we don't always talk about brewing. We just kind of talk about whatever comes to mind because there's only so much you can talk about when you're brewing.
Yeah.
So we just kind of fill it with. Earlier we were having a great conversation about music and it goes all over the place sometimes.
We talk about whatever, and then when we have people like you show up and throw things in, we will talk about what you want to talk about.
Feel free to
ask questions.
Ask a question,
throw your own opinions in there, and we will just let it all slide. So yeah.
By the way, we're drinking a New England style hazy IPA that we brewed a couple sessions ago. It just finished carbonating yesterday, and yeah, we're very, very pleased with it. Of course, we're going to be a little biased against our own beer, but yeah.
Well, that's only because our beer is amazing.
It's amazing.
We're very humble people.
What we're brewing now is going to be a Scotch Ale in the end. This is Jamie's first recipe he designed all on his own. So I'm sure it's going to be great in the end. We have a recipe that I designed for the last session 2 weeks ago of an old stout, an old ale is what it's called. And that one's in the secondary, so I'm going to start carbonating that probably next weekend. So if you tune back in 2 weeks from today, you'll probably see us drinking our old ale. So old style ale, oldie with an E.
Nice. Yes,
yeah.
Oldie.
Oop, that's a little aggressive. We adjust that.
So yes, I have been to New York City quite a few times. I've never been to Los Angeles. Well, correction. I was to Los Angeles once.
I've been to both, actually.
I went through Los Angeles racing a Volkswagen Jetta at about 140 miles an hour. It was a lot of fun.
I'm not sure what that is in kilometers. Sorry, I don't have the conversions.
I can figure it out.
I think in Germany they use kilometers, correct? Yeah. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. So.
I think. Come on. So.
Years and years and years ago, when I was a wee little thing, I did live in Frankfurt. I don't remember much of it though, but I did live there for a while. My dad, originally from Germany, like I mentioned, he U.S. citizen, became a U.S. citizen, joined the U.S. Army, got stationed back in Germany, and then we lived there for a little bit when he was active duty. What part are you? Where are you, Mark? Excuse me.
Berlin.
Oh, you said that? Okay.
Yeah,
I can't see the screen from my.
Yeah,
sitting,
we
so.
need to get a big flat screen to put behind there. So.
Never been to Berlin though, so one of these years I might make it up.
I've never been to Berlin either. Of course, when I went to Germany, East Germany still existed. It was not easy to get to Berlin when I went.
Right, that's true.
Because I went in the late 80s, mid 80s.
Right.
I don't know. All I know is that Czechoslovakia was still up. Because I told you the story. We went to the fence. Like it was a tourist thing. We went to the fence, saw the guard towers that were still there, and there were still men in them with guns to prevent people from getting out of Czechoslovakia. So, yeah, that was.
Excuse me.
So that was a while ago. But so yeah, I've been to New York several times. Been to Queens and the Bronx and messed around in Times Square. Have you ever been to New York or LA?
I've been to both. I used to be in the Navy. I was stationed in California and went down to LA a couple times. New York, I went there with the John F. Kennedy in 1996. My ship pulled into New York for Fleet Week. That was pretty fun. Yeah.
You know what Wendy did when she was a reservist? Did her 2 weeks active duty time during Fleet Week. Talk about a scam.
That must have been terrible.
Oh yeah, getting free stuff everywhere.
Checking time. We still have 25 minutes left.
We have a lot of time.
I'm going to grab the hot stuff. Just kind of have them staged.
Have them ready to go. So the Centennials are first. I think I'm going to do both ounces.
Oh.
Yeah, they're over in the other side.
Yeah.
Wrong freezer.
It's all right, man.
So yeah, New York is actually a really cool place. Wow, talk about switching gears.
I know, right?
It's like, so I'm from small town Montana, where it's very much like the old Pace Pecani sauce commercials.
Right.
New York City, get a rope type thing. But it's one of those things, if you're a small town person and you go to those big places, I've really decided you need to go to the parts that they're famous for. So if you go to New York City, go to the Empire State Building. Go to the Statue of Liberty. Go to Radio City Music Hall. Yeah. Go to Times Square at night. Oh, for the love of all that's holy, go to Times Square at night. And that is insane.
It is a circus. Let me put it that way.
I gotta say, I really want to go to Times Square on New Year's. I want to do it.
It would probably just be so outlandish, man. Yeah.
Oh, have you seen it?
Any new comments?
Yeah. I'm gonna.
Yeah, I've been to Times Square at night.
I have 2 engineer cousins in New York City for 10 years. So Berlin is pretty big, right? Yes, Berlin is pretty big. I'm pretty sure it's.
I think it's.
How big is it?
I don't know.
More than 1 million people?
I'm sure. They can tell us a lot.
I'm gonna wait till they come in. Hey! All of our viewers are from not the USA. What's up, Dan?
That's fine. It's nice to talk to some folks,
I was just talking about you earlier. We were talking about why am I yelling?
I don't know.
Because I'm stupid.
Maybe you're buzzed. I'm buzzed.
I like that better than stupid. Okay, let's go with that.
I died.
3.7 million. Yeah, Berlin's a big place.
Big city.
Big place. All right, so you're an urban person. You know urban stuff. Where was I going with that? But
I don't know.
I was just talking about visiting big cities. Go see what's famous in them.
Right.
Because really living in a big city is, I don't know, because the first time I went to New York City, I had, you might want to give it a little oomph. First time I went to New York City, I didn't have the greatest attitude. I was really being kind of a jerk, to be honest. And I stayed in my mother-in-law's house, and it was boring, and I didn't like it at all. I mean, it was just not cool. Because it was. I mean, for one thing, her yard, my driveway at my house is bigger than my mother-in-law's yard. My driveway.
I mean, it's New York City. Were they on Long Island or?
No, they're in New
They're
York
in the
City.
city,
They're in Queens.
Oh, okay.
Which, of course, now, wait. To you and I, you've got the 5 boroughs, which is Queens, the Bronx, Staten Island, Manhattan, and Brooklyn. Thank you. Right, so you got the 5 boroughs, right?
Right.
To us, that's New York City. Not to a person from New York City. It's like, we're going to the city. It's like, you're in the city.
Oh, no, we're not in the city.
No, we're going to the city. It's like, but we're in the city. No, we're not. Yes, you are. Watch this. I just hit your neighbor's house. You're in the city.
Hey, good morning. Screw you. Yep, we're in the city.
Yeah, where I'm from, you can't see your neighbor's house because it's too far away. Anyhow, it's you know, they consider Manhattan, that is the city.
That's the city, okay.
Right, you know, Times Square and all that.
Right.
Other than that, you're not in the city. It's like, which I get it. I mean, if, you know, people get used to where they're living and they kind of do things.
Sure.
You know what else is very interesting about urban people? And this is actually true for rural people too, but urban people don't realize it about themselves, right? So you hear about small town folks, right? They never leave their little small town. You know, here where we're at, we got a lot of people, I don't go off the island ever. It's like,
Right.
wow, is that a really sad state of existence?
You must be really bored.
Yes. It's like, so do you need a knife?
Well, 10.2 and a 9.9.
Yeah, different alpha acids. Those are both Centennial, right? Okay, good to go.
Yes, I do read. Oops, I'll do one more time. That one, what do we got there?
Yes, Dan, perhaps we can watch a dog run away for 3 days. If he's running in a straight line.
Yeah,
What's your point?
still going.
Full light. I may be a little more snarky with Dan because he's actually a friend of mine.
Oh, no, I know you guys know each other.
No, I'm talking to Full Light, not you. I know
Oh. All right, we
So,
are,
what was I saying? So no, it's very interesting is that small town people get this stigma, if you will. They get this stigma of they never go anywhere, right?
right.
They just stay in their little
Don't leave
town.
my
They never-
backyard.
Right, right. That's a stigma about small town people. But you know what's interesting about urban people? Their whole world is 5 blocks.
Yeah, we've actually talked about that before, yeah.
And of course, this is, I mean, it's a very crude generalization,
Sure.
and it's not 100%. But really, you know, it's like, for me, because I am from Montana, and so the concept of traveling 50 miles, like 50
Nothing,
miles, it's
right.
like, yeah, of course, man, we do that to go fishing,
Right.
you know, and then we come back.
So I go get my milk, you know?
Yeah, it's like driving a long ways. But for some folks, it's like, well, let's walk over there. And it'll be like 10 blocks, which is less than 3 miles. And we'll get there and we're like, whoa, I don't know this area.
Right.
It's like, how can you, it looks the same as the last area, you know, building. You know,
Concrete glass, steel.
concrete glass. Which is really,
kind of was when I was in Tokyo, and it was like everywhere. Concrete, glass, and steel.
yeah, which is very insulting to, it's super insulting to urban people, and we shouldn't be, because people
We're
are
not trying to be
people.
insulting, we're just discussing it, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, but it's, well, it's interesting how rural people get that stigma. You've never been anywhere. It's like, yeah, but my nowhere is 250 square miles.
Right.
And urban people, because they're packed in, there's more experiences crammed into that 5 blocks, but it's still, it's amazing, you know? Like when I go,
We're not that much different, you know?
like when I go to my wife's, you know,
Yeah, I can't get a good roller, man. I'm either too
haha,
aggressive or too soft.
True Flight agrees. True what you are saying. Yeah. So it's it's just interesting, you know. And I think part of that is the human psyche.
Right.
You know, we can't, it is hard to be constantly unrooted if you will, and experiencing new thing after new thing after new thing. In fact, they've done studies on that with psychology, with the whole concept of no real steady, it's like where there's constant stressors. You can't exist in that state of, they call it arousal. They use the term for arousal, or different terms. There's erotic arousal,
Right,
of course.
it's not always erotic, yes.
But there's different states of arousal, but that state of, that's like romantic love, right? You can't stay in that romantic, hot and heavy teenage puppy love stage.
No,
You can't do it.
It evolves,
Dan, we are going to Twitter and Facebook and YouTube. And we were supposed to go to Twitch, but I decided to watch a movie with my wife last night instead of set up our Twitch account. So that's my fault.
Spouses, what? Like they should have priority.
Yeah, and then I decided to drink beer instead of set up our Twitch account after she went to bed. So beer, priority as well. In fact, that's what we're doing right now.
One day we'll be on Twitch.
There was a thing about a goldfish's memory, I forget. Yes, haha, Dan. Have I ever mentioned that Dan is king of the dad joke?
You may have once or twice.
Really bad too, though. I mean, he takes a dad joke, which is bad, and makes it worse. Which I don't know how you do that, but Dan, you can do it.
Must be a special skill then, I think we got a good boil now.
Yes, we are going to be on Twitch, and it really is. I mean, it really is pathetic because it takes like 30 seconds to set up a Twitch account.
I have a Twitch account. I just don't use it for anything.
Yeah, well, we're going to set up a Northwest Brewmeister's Twitch account.
Right. I mean, I have a personal one I was using because
I have one too.
I was playing a game that you set up a Twitch account, leaked the game to it, you got some goodies, and then I stopped playing the game. So I'm not getting the Twitch account anymore.
Yeah, but it really, like, how long does it take to set up a Twitch account? Northwest Brewmeisters has email. We obviously have.
It takes you longer to verify your account than it does actually set it up. So.
Yeah. So in 2 weeks, this will be happening on Twitch as well. So we'll have 4 platforms.
Got another comment from Dan.
I watched Who Framed Roger Rabbit on Disney in full HD last night. Really?
That's an old school movie.
You thought it was amazing? I mean, I haven't seen it, but from everything I've heard.
You never saw Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
No, but in full HD.
Oh, no, not full HD. I mean, I think it came out like 1989 or something like that.
Right, well, it's a standard definition movie.
Yeah. Digitized and remastered, I bet,
Full Light, it'll be the same name. It'll be Northwest Brewmeisters. We use the same handle everywhere, across the platforms. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch coming.
Right.
All you gotta look up is Northwest Brewmeisters.
NW Brewmeisters.
We don't try and get creative. Yeah, the film, but it was in standard definition. I mean, HD didn't even exist.
No, but they can take that standard definition, digitize it, and then enhance it digitally and give it the HD effect.
Which is
enhance it digitally. You know what I mean? I don't know the ones and zeros that are happening to it. I just know that they can digitize that grainy film, clean it up, and give it a.
See, there we go. So brighter blues, darker blacks. That's what I'm saying. Actually, black is really hard for digital.
Right. It's not
Isn't
black.
that interesting? Analog does black just fine. You take a shot of black analog, it comes out black. Digital, it comes out like this splotchy thing on the screen.
Right. Because you're dealing with lighted pixels, and it's hard to have true black when there's light behind it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So.
That's true, because you can't just turn off the screen.
Right.
Because then people start turning their TVs in. This is defective. It's like, no, it's black. Send it back. Take your TV back. Used to watch VH copies of it, so it was amazing to see it updated.
I bet. It looked really good. Probably sharpened lines and just, brought out colors and all kinds of stuff, compared to the old grainy version.
Yeah, I mean, and it depends on where you watch it, I suppose. So, my wife told me that the new Dune is out. Are you going to see the new Dune, Dan? I'm going to see the new Dune.
New Dune. Like theater version or like made for television version?
Theater version.
Because I remember the original Dune from the 80s.
The 1984.
Yeah, that was an amazing movie, I thought.
Really? A lot of people did not like
I
that
liked
movie.
I like maybe because maybe I watched it later, and to me it was kind of retro. You know what I mean? So, but I read the book. I haven't read the whole series of books, but I read the original book, dude. And I thought the movie was pretty good. I liked it a lot. So, now maybe if I was an adult in 1984, maybe I wouldn't have liked it, but you know.
Maybe that was it. Maybe there was, but I thought Dune was really cool. But then again,
I didn't care for like the remakes they did later, like the sci-fi.
oh yeah, those
versions.
suck.
I
But the
didn't care.
critique of the 1984 Dune was just that it was like it didn't make much sense.
Well, neither does the book.
Well, yeah, well maybe it's because they tried to cram too much of the book
Yeah.
into one movie.
That movie, I think, to justify the book, that movie would have needed to be like 7 hours. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I thought the movie was great. I liked the movie.
Uh-oh, we got another dude. This guy's a fan.
Oh, cool.
Without change, something sleeps inside us. Dune quote, 1984. All right, you've got us beat.
I know, yeah. I'm sure you know more than we do. I've only ever read the first book,
Just
and of
the
course
fact-
seen the movies. So
You know, I didn't even make it through the first book. I tried
yeah.
because I'm a big believer that
Well,
you should read.
You know my friend Jonathan. He's a huge Dune fan. He's read all the books.
How many books are there?
Five
Is
or
there
six,
three?
maybe,
Five?
maybe. Yeah, it's like 5 or 6 books.
Yes, not Doom, not Doom.
No,
Dune,
like a sand
like
dune.
large hills of sand pushed about by the wind. You know, whenever I talk to Dan, I tend to put on an accent, which
Well,
is
you
not
know-
mine.
You know what was funny though? When I was
What's
on,
our time like?
we have 10 minutes left
Okay,
for the first.
so
You know what's funny? You say you kind of just bring out like an accent when you're talking to Dan because you know he's English.
right.
What's funny, when I was on the ship and we went to Ireland, it was 96. We went over there for like a week or so. People, the people on the ship, all of us, Americans, people would just tend to start speaking with an accent. It was funny.
Irish.
Yeah, and it's just like, wait, what am I doing? You know what I mean? In fact, we even went over to England too. We went over to Portsmouth and spent about 5 or 6 days in Portsmouth, and I think some people were doing the same thing. They were kind of all of a sudden just talking with an English accent, even though they weren't trying to. It was just coming out that way, and it's kind of weird.
I think you kind of tend to roll like that.
Right. But back on the movies though, we're talking about Dune and.
Well, so my wife told me it was out on HBO Max.
Right,
She's like, it's out. I'm like, all right, we're gonna watch it because it does look incredible.
Yeah, I have HBO Max, I might do that.
Yeah, and so no, that's October 22nd,
Oh.
not September 22nd.
All right.
So instead, we watched a movie called Tenet, which is a real mind twister.
Yeah, actually, I've seen the little thumbnail for Tenet on.
So it was fun. It was fun. Lots of holes, but it's really hard to say that they're holes because it had this. It was all about time travel and time paradox and things like that, but not.
That's why the mind screw, huh?
Yeah, it was like, and so they just. I mean, it's so vague. The whole, the grandfather paradox or whatever. The whole idea, if you go back in time and kill your dad, then do you not exist? So you couldn't do it. So obviously you could do it. Type deal. You think of time light, but
Take a smell. Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's just like
those don't smell.
they're not super aromatic.
Aromatic, which is probably why they're used for bittering.
for bittering. Yeah, they're not so full of aroma.
So, Fulbright, full light, and Dan. What we're doing here with the hops are a flower, and they have acids within them. And when you're brewing a beer, the first thing you do is you make a wort, which is basically a whole bunch of starches and carbohydrates,
Right. They can
or sugars, from grains, which is barley and wheat and different things. But it tastes kind of sweet. Not good, because I've tasted it, but sweet nonetheless. But beer is not a sweet thing. So these hops, when you add them in, the alpha acids interact with those sugars, and they actually make it more bitter.
Yeah, it's a bittering agent.
They are what make your beer taste more like beer, along with the yeast. But they are a big part, because if you did not add the hops, it would be very sweet.
Too sweet. You just couldn't enjoy it. Yeah.
Although not quite soda sweet.
No, but just sweet.
Maybe like Yoo-hoo.
Maybe.
I don't know I don't know if either of our viewers know what Yoo-hoo is.
I don't know, that might.
You ever had Yoo-hoo over
That might
there?
just be an American thing.
That
I
might
don't
be
know.
a very American thing. So, anywho, we ended up watching Tenet. And you know what? So I'm watching, and the audio was horrible.
Oh.
I mean, it sounded like they were in a bathroom. This echo thing, the whole thing.
Was it because of the signal, internet connection maybe, or?
No, it's because of HBO Max's app.
Oh.
I looked it up. I was like, is this, because I'm fiddling with settings, and it's like, nothing is fixing this. And so I was like, HBO Max, bad audio. Let's see what happens. Only like 9,000 Reddit hits.
Lots of people were talking
People
about
are
it.
like, this
Okay.
sucks. It's like, I finally got rid of the echo. Now the sound effects and music are so loud I can't hear the dialogue.
Now, how were you watching it? Through a television app or through the
PS5.
PlayStation? Okay. Because mine, I have through my television has the app built into the television.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I'm the exception because I have not experienced that with HBO Max on my TV.
No, that was one of the comments, is that people seem to say, like, if it's on your TV, it's not so bad.
Yeah, I haven't noticed that yet. It's always quiet. Like I have to really crank the volume up.
Yeah, it's
But-
very quiet.
But as far as I don't get the echo or anything.
You didn't get, like, the bathroom sound. It's just,
Nah, it's just so quiet, you know.
you know what it sounds like? It sounds like, have you ever gone to the drive-in?
Mhm.
And then you, like, get out of your car and go, like, if you got to go to the bathroom or whatever, you know that audio effect? Because sometimes they have the sound playing on speakers from off the walls.
sure.
You know, it sounds just, it's got that hollow, echoey
It's
sound.
not, it doesn't sound like it's stereo or mixed, you know. Or whatever.
Right, it just sounds like it's like,
Yeah.
it's a really, I like the drive-in. Did you know that's a
Weird.
super American thing?
Yeah.
Seriously, ask Dan. Hey Dan, do they have drive-ins in England or Brazil for that matter?
Or ask our German friend. Do they have them in
Yeah.
Germany?
Or full light?
Yeah, boy.
Do either of you, do you have drive-in theaters? Really big screen and you just drive your car and park and you watch the movie sitting in your car looking through the windshield?
I think that traditional thing, at least from the U.S. standpoint, goes back to the 40s maybe? 40s or 50s?
40s and 50s probably. You gotta think that film had to get there before they did.
Oh, sure.
You know, you gotta think. So maybe like 70s?
I think it goes back
60s?
earlier than that. I don't think it became a family thing until maybe the 70s, you know?
Keep an eye on that. I need to use the restroom.
I'm gonna have to change seats because I can't read it from where I'm sitting.
Yeah, I know. We need to get a cheap flat screen.
Something with a larger monitor so we can see what's going on. So, any comments? Okay, yeah, so that's kind of what Jimmy was saying, like, he thinks, from what I understand, that's like originated like an American culture thing, the drive-in theater. So, I don't know why he brought the theater up, but, the audio, talking about the audio. So, excuse me, I'm gonna check the time. Here in about 3 minutes, I'm gonna put our hops in, the first batch of hops. And these will actually, like he was saying, these will be bittering, but they have to boil off for a while. So they're gonna sit there for at least an hour. And the acids are gonna boil into the beer, and it'll counter that sweetness. And then in the last, I think, 10 minutes or 15 minutes, we're gonna add another type of hops, which are commonly called finishing hops. And they'll add a little bit of kind of a hoppy floral flavor, maybe some aroma to it, but not much. So.
How you doing?
Fine. So,
Keep going.
I forget the name. Full Light says there's very few in Germany.
Like they do have
Scotch
some.
beers, yeah. So,
Interesting.
he knows them. I'm assuming you're he. If you're not, then I apologize. You know. But yeah.
Okay, cool.
So we're down to actually wrong phone. We're down to about 2.5 minutes, and then we'll put these hops in.
Okay.
So it's 17:21 is the time, just in case you're curious what time it is. So time-wise, we're doing fine. Total time. You can stand here. It's fine. Just put the door up. I'll put the door up.
Well, push it twice.
Yeah, I know it's gonna come down.
Ah, you're trying to kill me!
So when we actually, when we finish with the boil, we're gonna, wow, everything's coming down good. I'm concerned about my leak. 'Cause I don't think that sealant got everything. I'll check it here in a little bit.
Oh, no, man.
But anyway, yeah, I'm not getting my new roof until November. Yeah, I have a pretty gnarly leak in my roof with a temporary fix. The temp fix doesn't seem to keep the water out for too long, unfortunately.
Oh, that's why it's called a temp.
I know, right? No, what I was saying was, when we actually go to do the wort chiller, we should probably bring it around through the house to the porch. Not through the rain. You know?
Or can the hose get to here?
Yeah, the hose will reach here. I guess we could.
We could do it right here and aim it out.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
However you want to do it, man.
Okay, your friend Dan is back. He went to make some tea. Now he's back.
Oh, spot of tea, Dan. Spot of tea. So Dan and Peter and Jem say that my English accent is kind of like a mix of Kent and Welsh and Northern England.
Ah, okay.
Which is really a big insult, by the way.
It is really? I wouldn't know. I mean,
they love my English accent. It's like not an English accent.
the non-English accent. What did I do with my phone?
I always make fun of them because they're like, "Oh, it's so different in the north." I'm like, "You're not big enough to have."
Oh, geez. Have another beer, Steve.
Yeah, right.
I didn't even fill up my pocket. That's what's weird. Oh, it is time.
It's time.
It is time. All right, I'm going to carefully put these in here so we don't have a boil over.
Hey,
We should have a boil over.
by the way, Dan, if you're still there, I'm off screen and I can't see the monitor, but feel free to plug yourself a little bit, man. Oh,
All right. First batch is in.
fully English again. Wait, so what, are you at your folks' house? Are you back in England? So full light. Just so you know who else is in here. This guy, Dan Roberts, he's a good friend of mine. He, I met him via the internet. Thanks, I play piano. Yeah, plays piano. Have I ever told you about that?
You've actually played some videos on YouTube of him playing.
Yes.
So I've heard you play, Dan. Very, very nice, sir.
No, you're not Welsh. No, I said that when I do an English accent, you and Peter and Jem accuse me of sounding Welsh and Northern and Southern and all points in between all at the same time.
Oh, this is making a mess. My garage floor is going to be all sticky.
Yeah, we might actually want to mop it.
That's all right.
So, full light, if you do like classical piano, and I mean amazing classical piano, you should probably check out Dan. He is an amazing pianist.
Excuse me.
I wish,
My turn.
yeah, I wish I was as good at guitar as Dan was. I wish I was half as good at guitar as Dan is at piano. Yeah, you know, because I do the English accent thing once in a while, and it's horrible, but that's okay. Because I'm not English, I'm American. America! So, Steve has to use the bathroom now. This is one of the problems with drinking beer while you make beer, is that you end up needing to go to the bathroom quite a bit, especially towards the end of our broadcast. This is one of the things that happens in our broadcast because they're very, very long. Like, what are we going? We're at the 2 hour and 9 minute mark now, which is pretty common for our broadcast, just because we're brewing beer, and what else are we going to do? But you tend to have to step off camera eventually. You just can't do the whole thing. I'm not Joe Rogan. I can't do 8 hours of talking. which is why I'm really glad that both of you are here, because you can throw out comments and we can talk more and take the conversation in a different level. It's amazing how hard it is to think up something when your partner leaves to go to the bathroom. So let's talk about where we are in the boil. So at this point, what we've done is we've added the hop flowers to our wort. Wort, in the beer brewing world, is basically a grain tea. So we can do this really quick. Grab one of these canisters, which is still here. Throw it out there so you can see. So this is a canister of essentially grain tea that has been reduced. If you do any sort of cooking, you might know what a reduction is. It's where you take some sort of sauce, any sort of sauce, or a broth, and you reduce it down to a sauce by evaporating, usually through the use of heat, most of the liquid off, so it's just the solids that are left. So we add that into this, and then we take, basically,
I'll get right and help you.
it's like a really big tea bag, is all it is. It's got a bunch of different grains in it. And we make this grain tea. And as we mentioned, if that's all we did, it would be kind of sweet, but not a really good sweet. Just kind of, I don't know, not a good sweet. It wouldn't be a good sweet, right? But we add hops to it, and the hops actually interacts.
Wait.
What in the world is that? Are you using different keyboards? How did you get that letter? That's Portuguese. Oh, well, there you go. Never mind. You are in He's in Brazil. They speak Portuguese there.
You're just like, wait, answer my own question.
Yeah. So anyways, the hops reduce that sweetness. And then we add yeast, and the yeast eats the sugars, and it adds esters and diacetyl effects and different things, and makes the beer.
Eats the sugars and produces alcohol and carbon dioxide.
Right. You're not Russian. Do tell. All these years I thought you were. Russian with an amazing South London accent.
Oh.
All right, well, I'm going to bring over the bucket and kind of get it staged.
So what you're saying is you're going off camera again.
It's gotta be done.
You're right, it's got to be done. So much stuff has to be done. You know, we've got like 50 minutes.
So if we had a third person be like an assistant, it'd be different. But we don't.
You know, we have children.
Yeah.
It's like children, legal slave labor. All right. Ba-donk. So one thing, if you follow us at all and you watch our broadcast at all, you'll notice Steve is very much about getting stuff done. And he likes to be prepared. And it's a good thing, because you really should be prepared. I react to life completely.
I proact life.
I react, he proacts. So we kind of balance each other out. Usually we don't have to react, but when we do, I'm very good at it. So I'm good for emergencies, like when we boil our beer over.
So I got to get the cardboard ready here a little bit too.
Did we roll that at all? I mean,
No, I think it's been sitting up. I'm gonna go put it on the side.
all right. I mean, it sloshed pretty good when I was driving over. So yeah, towards the end of the broadcast, or towards the end of the boil, things get a little busy because you got to do things fast. Once you gotta add things at the right time. You've got to turn the heat off, and you want to get things cooling because we discovered that if you don't cool your beer down, if you don't cool this fast enough, it changes the flavor of the beer at the very end. Full Light, if you're still there, are you a beer drinker? You mentioned that you're not a brewer.
All right, I gave everything a big sloshy Josh.
And I don't want to make an assumption that you're German, therefore you drink beer. Although I'm not going to lie, I think that's a pretty safe assumption. I mean, German beer, sausage, those are like pastries. Right?
Yeah, some Stollen. I like a good Stollen.
What is that?
It's kind of like a rolled up pastry.
Uh-huh.
You roll it up and you cut it in slices. It's called a Stollen.
You've got water drops all
Oh no, I've watered up. It's raining outside, so.
I'm so glad I don't have to wear glasses for real. Like they're just readers.
No, it's a really good German pastry. It's a Stollen. It's called Stollen.
Nice. You know what? You know what's interesting? So, of course, here in America, cavemen that we are, you know, when we think of German sausage, we think of bratwurst, right? That's it. And it's not bratwurst, it's bratwurst, because we're American.
To us, yeah.
Right?
We butchered the language. No pun intended, actually.
So when we went to, hey, look, your family's home.
Let me shut the door. It's gonna be loud.
It's all right.
Hang on.
So anyways, so when I went to Germany, we started in Frankfurt, right? And then we went through a few different towns, and then we went through Nuremberg, and we made our way to Vienna eventually. That was like the ultimate thing. But every town we went into, they wanted to show us their signature sausage, right? Because these are a bunch of little American kids, you know, and there we go. I did not eat bratwurst once my entire time in Germany.
No, I believe it. I mean, it's probably, I think what we see in the stores here is kind of an Americanized thing, you know?
Well, you know, and that's just the way it is. Like, for example, have you ever had cheeseburgers in England?
I don't recall.
Next time you go to England, you
I mean, I've only been to the one time, so I don't, that was 96, man. I can't remember what I ate.
Yeah, I remember. We had cheeseburgers. You know, actually talking to English grocery store people about cheese for hamburgers, and they were a bit confused. They're like, yeah, we don't know what you do.
What do you mean?
It's like a cheeseburger, you know?
What
And
is
of course-
what is it called in England?
Well, I imagine it's called a cheeseburger.
Oh,
you know?
well,
little help here, Dan.
I wasn't sure like if there was a different name or something you would get.
Well, it's just, I mean, for one thing, in America, the cheese that you have on a cheeseburger is American cheese. Yes, I know it's not cheese, but I'm not gonna lie, I like it.
I don't put American cheese on cheeseburgers. I put other kind of cheese on there.
All right, Mr. Snob. Okay, I see that.
I put on things like Munster. I put on
I
Swiss.
can't listen to you now. I don't like that. Look, American cheese goes on an American cheeseburger. It's American. It's American. Don't be ashamed of our country. All right, we have good things too.
Corn dogs and.
America! See? You are so cool, Dan. But anyhow, but no, when we were there, we went to grocery stores because we rented.
Sorry. Are you doing 15 or 10 minutes on your second?
10.
Yeah, okay.
10. Let me double check, but I'm almost 100% sure it's 10.
Didn't mean to be rude. I want to make sure I keep the eye on the time properly. That's all.
Oh, that's cool. Let's see. Centennial at 60.
Which we did, yeah.
1 ounce. East Kent Goldings at 10.
Okay, so 10 minutes. All right, gotcha.
East Kent Goldings, Dan. How do you like that? We're using Kent hops. East Kent, which I've actually never been to East Kent. Or maybe, wait. You're so cool, you don't need an A. Why?
I think that's funny.
Yes, I don't know why though.
You get it?
No, I don't get it.
America. The America thing.
That's right. Okay. All right, I'm stupid. I'm just gonna have another beer.
Yeah, you're behind, man.
Mm-mm.
You get that.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. What was I? What were we just talking about?
He's so distracted so easily. It's so funny, man.
Shut up, dude.
No, it's both of us. It's both of us, dude. Because I have no idea.
My brain is full of amazing thoughts, and I just.
You know, it's my fault because I stopped your train of thought and asked you about the time. So I'll take responsibility. I'll take responsibility.
I have no idea what we're talking about.
Maybe our friends can help us there.
This is the part of the broadcast where things get strange.
By this point, we forgot what we're talking about, and
Stephanie steals Steve's seat.
and this is my sister-in-law, folks, Stephanie.
Stephanie World, Stephanie.
And then sometimes our broadcast goes from like PG to 13 or to R.
We've been really good,
Yeah,
man.
we've been good.
No,
We haven't like
last
PG.
one, it went to R.
Oh, last one was definitely R.
But we're PG, because I said tits earlier. So,
And we said hell twice.
okay, yeah, we're PG.
3 times now.
So,
And tits twice, 3 times now.
that's 3 times now.
It's like the nights that go me.
All right.
You said the word, you
Oh,
can't
it's on
say it.
Netflix.
I like round numbers. Tits. There we go. 4 times.
It's on Netflix.
Is it really?
You want to sit with us? I'm doing another chair out here.
We got food getting ready to cook.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Cheap fried chicken.
Cheap fried chicken?
Cheap fried chicken.
It's a cheap meal. Fried chicken.
Cheeseburgers!
macaroni, cheese, and
That's right.
Cheeseburgers!
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you. Awesome. We're talking about cheeseburgers and trying to build a
We
cheeseburger.
were in England.
In England.
That's right.
Right. And they just,
2 of our viewers. One of them is a actual friend of Jen. He's a guy named Dan. He's English, but he lives in Brazil, but he's English though. And then we have a friend from Germany who's viewer that's joined us today. So
full light.
full light, yeah, lives in Berlin. So we're having a nice conversation.
So we're chatting and talking, and we're talking about American-style cheeseburgers. And when I was in, I asked, what kind of cheese do you put on a cheeseburger here, right? Because I do not go to foreign countries to eat American food.
Right. Same here. Yeah.
And my wife learned that you do not go to foreign countries to eat American food. How did she learn this? She wanted to go to KFC. And I was about to be cranky. I'm like, you know what? We are here for 2 weeks. I'm going to let my wife go to KFC. We are not going to eat in pubs every single night, right? Although we eat in pubs almost.
I would eat in a pub every single night.
Yeah, I was just like, it's like we're
not yet.
Okay.
we're gonna eat English food. We're gonna eat fish and chips with mushy peas, and we're gonna eat bangers and mash,
Bangers and mash.
and all this fun stuff, and Yorkshire puddings, and
Right.
whatever. What's the tea? Is it Yorkshire tea? Is that the tea too? Help me, Dan. Help me, Jedi Dan. You're my only hope.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
And
Obi-Wan
if it was
So-
Germany full out, we would eat true German cuisine, not
Yeah.
Americanized stuff,
But my wife wanted to go to KFC.
Right.
So in America, we Americanize foreign food, and in England, they Englandinize American food. And my wife was not impressed.
Ah.
She's like, "This is not what I expected." I was like,
What did you expect? You're not in America, you're in England.
It's different."
I think one of the first times I saw fast food overseas was
Wise choice. You did, as a matter of fact.
what was the question? Or what was it?
You said wise choice. I met you there. Yeah, that was one of the things we were like. We're trying. I forget what we were doing, but we were gonna meet Dan there.
Ah, okay.
Yorkshire tea or PG tips.
Yorkshire.
I did mostly Yorkshire tea. I drank a lot of Yorkshire tea. I drank a lot of coffee too, although it was a lot of French press. We actually broke the French press at the
Ah.
place. We had to go. And then we got this. So this is really crazy. So in England, or at least where we were, there's these warehouses, but you go into them and it's not like, so here we have Home Depot, which is a warehouse thing, or Costco, and you browse these huge aisles of stuff, and there's stuff everywhere,
You
right?
buy like giant bottles of A1 steak sauce.
Right. Well, this place we went in, And there was like this little lobby, about as big as your garage, maybe a little bit bigger. So like, what is your garage? Like 20 by 30? Maybe even less.
I don't know.
It looks like about 20 by 30
And meters or feet?
feet. So you want to know the cool thing about England? They use both.
I do that actually.
With,
I do that.
with no rationale.
It's like flip flop, huh? It's
Yeah,
constant, you know?
I was talking with Peter and Jem about miles per hour and kilometers per hour.
Oh, yeah.
And Peter was saying, yeah, it's either one.
Either one, okay.
And you just got to kind of figure it out.
Just go with the traffic, right? All right, Costco style
So
warehouse store in England.
Right. So apparently the warehouse is there, but you don't see anything on the shelves. There's catalogs, and you look through the pictures.
Oh, I heard of that actually. Yeah,
And
you
then
said I
you're
want
like,
this and this.
I want this thing, and then they go bring it to you.
Yeah, I heard that actually.
And we had to do that because we broke the French press. It's like making coffee, and the bottom of it just went coffee went everywhere.
Was this at the Airbnb?
Yeah, it was at the
place?
Airbnb
Okay.
that we stayed at. And so it's like we experienced a lot of English culture, not because we were chasing English culture, but just because we were trying to live life.
We had to replace the things we broke.
Yeah. It's like, so this is how you shop for stuff here, huh?
Sweet.
Usually in America, we'd go to a shelf and look at 9,000 different versions of this.
And complain about the price.
Yes, and complain about the price. That one's really expensive. It must be made in America. Why? Because we have to pay American workers $19 an hour to sweep a floor. Oh, man.
Political, that's rated like PG-13.
That was not political. It was, maybe. There's reality.
Borderline.
It's just reality, okay? We're expensive people. We like to get paid a lot for not a lot of work.
Not a lot of work, I know.
Yeah, it's a problem.
I need someone to just pay me $17 an hour to stay home.
That'd be okay.
That'd be nice.
You need to get Chase declared an invalid, then you could do it.
He is
Think
special.
about it.
He is special, but he's
Not
not,
the right kind.
he's not that kind of special. So anyways, cheeseburgers, all the way back to cheeseburgers.
Yeah, just so you guys know, we go all over the place and somehow make it back. So just be ready for that kind of constant
Once
tangent, you know?
in a while, we make it back.
You know, sometimes we forget what we're talking about. Like, what are we talking about? I have no idea.
But then she talked about fried chicken, and that reminded me of the cheeseburgers, and I was talking about the poor girl in the Safeway or whatever it was. It wasn't Safeway, obviously, but the grocery store, which we
Right.
shopped at quite a few times, there, and she was like,
I
don't
don't
know what cheese you put on a hamburger.
It's like, it's cheese, man. Just buy some cheese.
Are you biding time till the next vote?
Oh, no. Good one.
Thank you. Dan will be here all week. All right, so we don't go too deep into politics because basically we used to say Americans, but the truth is people, human beings on the entire planet are not mature enough to talk politics.
Most aren't.
It's kind of sad.
I don't get into politics. I don't care to argue about it.
I mean, we have our opinions, sure, but the truth is,
Everybody has their opinions, you know.
let's talk England. I love Kent. I love Kent too. Dude, when you go to England, you need to go to Kent.
Well, where's Portsmouth? I mean, I know where it is, like on the map, but like regionally, like where does the region call for Portsmouth? That's the only place in England I've ever been to. I just don't know.
South?
I think so. I think it was kind of this way.
So Kent is kind of the southeast chunk.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
Wales is over here, Kent is over here.
Right.
This is south of London. You know, there's London and the Thames goes off here. Then you've got Kent down here.
Okay.
I only know that because that's where I was.
Right. Oh, he's laughing. Okay.
Yeah.
I can barely make it up in this distance. Even with my glasses on.
We really need a big screen TV. Just put it right behind the camera. So
Increase
we
the
can
zoom
look.
to like 120%.
Yeah.
Oh, we can see it now.
Well, we kind of need that sort of thing.
Yeah, I know. We also need a third person to be like a off-screen worker to like gather things so we don't have to leave screen. You know? I think a lot of the more professional broadcasts on YouTube and stuff, they have background people that do that stuff. You know.
South England. It's the only island city. So it's on an island?
Really? Oh, I didn't even know that. I never realized that. Maybe at the time I knew, I just forgot it. You know. So.
So what's the island? Is the island on the Thames or is it like off coast? Thank you. Near the Isle of Wight. Tell you what, I'm just gonna
I
grab
know, I
one.
say, we have the power in our hands also.
Let's just look up the Isle of Wight.
I remember in '96, I spent 6 days there in Portsmouth. I had a good time. Went to some classic just pubs and drank, whatever was on tap. Didn't care, Played snooker for the first time. As we watch intently to see what he finds.
I found it. Oh, that's actually west of where I was. So you're on the southern coast of England, Portsmouth.
Right, Portsmouth's up right there. Okay.
Yeah, so check it out. Well, here.
No, I got you.
Come on, get rid of everything else.
So I can envision the map too is pretty much the southern tip, right?
All right, so you know where London is, right?
Vaguely, yeah.
So you're actually west and south of London. So where we stayed was, nobody else can see this, but we stayed kind of south and east of London
Okay.
in a little town called Bridge, which is just outside of Canterbury. Yes, the Canterbury. Canterbury
As in the
Tales.
Canterbury Tales.
Canterbury.
As in Chaucer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
I read the Canterbury Tales with deployment actually. It was a bridge version, but it was still interesting read though.
So, east of Wales, south of London. It's a little smaller than Texas. Dan, your entire country is as big as Michigan. No offense. But yeah, Bridge was 3 miles outside of Canterbury. We went to the Canterbury Cathedral. Wendy loved. That was so cool. So we're driving over to Peter and Jem's at one point. Half lost. Because the entire time I was in England, I was half lost.
Gotcha.
Right? We're using maps, apps, and things. Trying to get to places. It's like, did we take a right turn? I don't know. Turn left. Be careful. Don't, not this lane. What are you doing? All right, we're parking and we're going to just breathe for a minute. Are we okay? I don't know. We've got to get off this sidewalk before the police show up. In any case, we came around this corner and my wife literally gasped in delight. It was just a church, but it was like 2 million years old.
Oh, wow.
It's just a really old English church. I'm being ironic. You think? Come around the corner and there's this church. She's just like, oh, just like that. I was like,
I guess we're stopping.
okay. Actually, we didn't stop.
You didn't
She's
stop?
like, no,
Oh,
no.
okay,
Just,
okay.
But there was so much. Man, we walked through so many graveyards. So many cemeteries.
Yeah.
Yep, just walked through.
Just walk around, huh?
And she was looking at these gravestones. She just loved it.
Lich yards.
Lich yard? What?
Lich yard.
Say again?
Lich yard.
I know, no, don't say again. Expound. Expound.
Graveyard.
Is that a graveyard?
Yeah.
From,
You know what a lich is?
I don't know what's
It's a
lich.
dead thing.
It's a what?
A dead thing.
What's a dead thing? A lich?
A dead thing.
A lich?
As in
Is
not
this-
living.
As in like not living? Once alive?
LICH. Look it up.
I am not looking it up. I can guess. You could tell me. Lich yard, huh?
This is another name for a graveyard.
I've never heard that word.
Oh, okay.
That's weird because I know a lot more words than Steve usually. This is a new one. I do.
I'm almost insulted.
Don't be
Insulted by
insulted.
that.
It's not your fault.
What? Why is
I don't know what is on. Your pants are gonna be sticky now.
It's okay.
I guarantee you, it's stickiness. Stickiness is coming.
I don't care. We have 30 minutes, by the way, on the boil.
Okay, so 20 minutes left until we add the last hops. 2 ounces of hops is a lot. Oh, it's magic, you know.
I was like, what?
Sorry.
I thought you had
American commercial that nobody who's watching is gonna know.
lich yard. Graveyard. This is another name for graveyard.
No, I've never heard that one. I really haven't.
Ah, finally, a vocabulary word I know that you didn't.
10 years. However, there are words that Steve uses that I don't think he uses right. Like Functionality.
Give me an example.
That's the problem, is you can't give me a concrete example.
I'm describing the functionality of all kinds of stuff.
Yes, but when we talk about coding, why?
I keep going to that for sure because usually the hops are in that refrigerator.
I don't know why you would keep any sort of beer supplies in that fridge. There's this fridge over here.
Do you want this?
Yes, I do.
Okay, yours. Because I don't want it.
Yeah. No, we use those when So what's the deal? You're talking about vaccines or something? Does it take that long to get your vaccines?
What was the question?
He says he'll be allowed to visit the USA from November. Dude, Dan, you totally need to come up to the Seattle area. I will take time off and show you around. Maybe we could set up a show or something. I'm sure I can find a grand piano somewhere. Positive.
Rent one for the weekend. Yeah. East Kent Building. Flowery with citrus peel, lemon, and herb. Undercurrents. Product of the United Kingdom.
So I assume you're talking about vaccines, Dan? Yes, they announced it.
No, I was just curious if our, I can't remember the full name of our German viewer.
Full light.
Full light, okay.
Full light.
Full light.
No, he hasn't commented in a while. Might have gone. You know. Yes, I might take you up on that if I need to be in a different country for 10 days before the UK. You need to be in a different country for 10 days before the UK? Is that something because the UK is not confident that Brazil has its medical problems under control? Brazil, yeah, they're not doing well at all. Of course, Brazil has Bolsonaro or something. Their president is not
doing a good job. I don't know.
No, he's
Is Biden doing any better? Probably not.
no, Biden is. So here's the problem with Biden.
Okay, we're going to
stop
politics. We're going to
Just
politics.
stop right there. All right. Let's just say not exactly who I would have voted for. And that's all. We'll stop that. So I don't have to pay to quarantine in a hotel. So you have to travel to a different country, hang out for 10 days, and then you can go to the UK? Is that what you're saying? Well, shoot, dude. Come on up. We'll find you a place to stay. Yeah, we will, yeah.
I'm going to go rotate the carboy.
Here, let me do it, because I need to pee anyway.
Oh, okay.
Talk with Dan and figure out what this whole vaccine thing with UK is. That's weird.
Maybe there's certain countries on the list that are considered safer
Yeah,
than others,
well,
you know?
I do know that Brazil has not done, I mean, if there's any country that's having a harder time than the United States, it's Brazil.
Okay. Oh, yeah, why would you want to pay 2,000, was that sterling? Yeah, why would you want to do that? Just to buy time, you know? Yeah, come hang out. You can drink some homebrew and see some of the Pacific Northwest. Watch the time as well. Okay, we're good. Right, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I think it'd be fun. Have you ever been to Seattle before? Yeah, you kind of expand on that. There's South America, all South America's on a list where if you're traveling from South America, it's kind of, you have to do a quarantine period. But if he spends time, let's say here, where
not on that list, I guess you could say. So he'd be able to go right into England without having to do that quarantine. Or I think he said to pay like 2,000 sterling or something, which that's a lot of money. You know?
Okay, so wait, you can either quarantine or pay 2,000 sterling and just go?
You have to read the comments, but
I wouldn't be surprised by that, by the way, because everybody knows that if you pay enough money, the virus goes away.
enter sarcasm.
Enter sarcasm.
No, I'd asked if he's been to Seattle. He has not. He's been to New York and LA so far.
Yeah.
He just visits the U.S.
He did a pretty decent. He did a pretty decent competition.
USA drive inside. Yeah. I didn't realize Brazil drove on that side of the road as well. So because Brazil they drive on the same side that we do. So,
yeah, there's England.
Australia drives on the left as well.
Is it Australia?
I drove in Australia.
That's it.
It was
England?
very strange getting used to. Once I got used to it, I was like, okay, you know.
Yeah. Okay, switch my seat so I can sit back down. The thing that I figured out? Oh, look, our internet.
Oh no.
Got sketchy, spotty.
If I have to go kick people off, I will.
No, that's all right. The thing that I've noticed about the England, the big thing, when everything was fine, you were fine. But when you had to react, you reacted backwards.
Oh.
So like, there's one day when we were coming around a corner, another car came, and it was a narrow road. It's like, oh, we're gonna hit, and so I turned to the right. But they turned to the left, and so we both turned into each other.
Right.
So I then
No pun
turned
intended.
totally to the right and drove up on someone's lawn and across it and down onto another road, and then I drove away.
Wow.
Fast.
You're like, oh.
It's like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, what got me when I was driving in Australia was the shifter was on this side, and then the clutch was different, you know. So it was a standard, you know. It was like a little.
Right. So when I was in England, everything was the same except that the shifter was here.
Right. Well, see, even the turn signals and stuff were different in Australia.
Oh, really?
It's opposite from what I'm used to, you know. So. But it just took
But that's Australia.
It just took about an hour of driving. I got used to it, you know what I mean? So,
Oh yeah. My wife never did like it.
But I never drove in England, and then
Apparently, a lot of Caribbean islands are
The
English side.
do this. Okay.
But who cares about that?
I don't know. I know.
I probably just blew our whole Caribbean audience.
I know, right?
I insulted them all.
I know Japan, yeah, drives on the left side as well, because I was there for 4 years. So.
Yep.
I never drove in Japan, though. I didn't really see a point to it. I didn't need to. I took a train if I needed to go somewhere, you know, or a taxi.
I never drove in Japan, but that's because nobody would let us drive. We were verboten.
Verboten. Yep. Still got ways to go
What do
before
we got?
24 minutes remaining.
24 minutes? Wow.
Yeah.
So that's 14 minutes till we add the hops.
Yeah, we're still we're going for a minute there. Oh yeah, let me go swap over the carboy. I'll probably need to, like, once I put the hops in, I'm gonna come and get it prepped.
Got you. Yeah. You know what's interesting is in the United States, it is more and more difficult to find a manual car. You know, even in our rental agencies. In fact, our rental places would rather rent you an automatic because
I got 2 different people screaming in there.
about what?
Screaming. I don't know the crap they do.
Oh,
So that's why our internet's being shoddy.
oh,
Hopefully
they're
we're good now.
streaming. We're good for now.
Yeah.
But in any case, what was I saying?
I don't know. I was not here for that one.
Oh, in America, it's very hard to find a standard car.
Oh, nowadays,
And most rental agencies would rather rent you a manual. They'd rather rent you a standard because it's a lower risk. Because you only have to do 2 things. Well, 3 things.
You mean automatic?
Isn't that what I said?
You said standard.
Oh, okay, I was
I
wrong.
was like, standard is
Most
shifters.
Most rental agencies in the United States would rather rent you an automatic.
Right.
Because it reduces your cognitive load for driving. You've got gas, brake, and steering. That's it. With the standard,
I know a lot of people here, it just doesn't probably make much of a difference though. Because their cognitive load is still
Oh, they'll load it up with everything else.
everything else, yeah. I'm just being sarcastic. There's a lot of dumb drivers here. Especially in the state where we live. Good Lord.
Oh, the thing is, I bet you could, the hardest thing would be to find a standard.
It's not hard. I mean, it's difficult. It's any
I
new
mean,
vehicle is not going to be standard unless you special order it.
Right. You would do fine with a manual, I'm sure, Dan, but it's just finding one from a rental agency. That would be the hard part.
Right. Yeah, I don't think you're going to find one ever from a rental agency. Honestly.
Yeah, I use cruise control all the time.
It's a liability, you know.
It is, because it is. I mean, even though people do, if you give them slack, they'll take it up with their cell phone and their
Right.
radio station and whatever else, but that's their fault, you know.
Come on. There we go.
And automatics, at this point, automatic technology is, you know, a good way to go.
Maybe a new comment.
He said tried a standard once in Brazil and it was awkward at first. So clutch, did you use your left foot for the clutch or the right foot in the Brazil? In England, I use the left foot, and in America, we use the left foot.
Yeah. Yeah, clutch, brake, or gas to the right, yeah. Yeah, I think even when I drove in Australia, the pedals were the same. It was just the shifter, obviously, and then like the signaling.
I don't remember this. I don't remember.
So I remember using my left hand to actuate the turn signal.
Hmm. Yeah, pedals are the same everywhere. So the actual pedal system is the same. It's
Right.
just
Which makes sense.
which hand you use to shift. I tried to make Wendy shift for a while. She didn't like that. It's like, come on, it's in the right position for you. Just do it. No.
All right.
Fine.
9 minutes until the hop's going.
So 19 minutes until we're done.
Right.
Yeah, just using, but you know, you gotta admit, it wasn't that hard, right? I mean, it took a little, I think it was a Vauxhall was what I was using in England, and it was easy. I mean, once I got it figured out,
Mm.
you know, at first it was kind of fun and exciting, crazy. It's in the wrong lane a lot. I figured it out. Shift where? Outside. I guess my friend Meg said her husband was driving in England and he was constantly punching the door.
Oh, really?
Because he'd go to shift, right? He'd change gears and so the door's right here. He's like, bam, ow! And then he'd grab the wheel and shift with his other hand.
There's food.
Oh.
Okay, next one.
Fried chicken, macaroni and cheese,
Chicken!
baked beans, pasta salad, potato salad.
All kinds of stuff.
Yep.
Thanks, babe.
That's your salad. We should go.
I think somebody's hungry.
Yeah, and it is. That's what I was mentioning, and I know you heard it because you're here, is I was mentioning to Steve is that when you're just doing flow of traffic and everything is fine, it's not that hard. It's when you run into a little crunch situation and you react instinctively.
Right.
If you're a right-hand side of the road driver, you're gonna swerve to the right. If you've grown up left-hand side of the road, you're gonna swerve to the left.
Yeah.
And when you're coming head on, what that means is you're gonna swerve into each other. Hit the door. All right, Dan. Hey, Dan, thank you very much for being here, man. Appreciate the support. Take care of yourself. We will see you later. Go play some piano or something, eh? Now we're Canadian.
I was like, yeah, you sound Canadian on that.
That's right, eh? Canadians. All right. I think Full Light has left already. I mean, he hasn't commented in quite a while. But that's okay. What do you say we called it, man?
Yeah,
We're up at the, this is almost a 3-hour broadcast.
Yeah.
I think that's long enough.
I think we'll be fine to call it, because we're at 7 minutes remaining to pitch the last hops. We still gotta finish prepping the stuff, we got food ready, so.
Kind of running out of content matter
Yeah,
type stuff.
Let's call it, man.
All right, we're gonna call it. Hey, for those of you watching on the replay, we are the Northwest Brewmeisters. I'm Jamie. This is Steve. We're two guys who like beer. Think you should too. Had a great time tonight. It was fun to meet Full Light, and of course, it's always great when my buddy Dan drops in and throws in his comments and his horrible dad jokes. We do this every other week, so we're not weekly. We're every other week. So it's gonna next week we won't be here, and the week after that we will, and we will be on Twitch next time. That is gonna happen because it takes like 30 seconds to set up a Twitch account, and then we'll roll from there. You can contact us through any of the social medias that we're on. Just leave a DM. We got the emails, and so it'll ping us. Yada yada yada, etc., etc., etc. This was a lot of fun. Hey, relax.
Don't worry, have a home brew.